Frozen over like I am.
It's a wild Wednesday. That means it's NECC time with Rocket League on the docket. I'm Hail Monkey Man in the booth alongside one of my greatest friends of all time. It is Bear Light here to strum you a song as we go along in harmony with 3 awesome matches for this awesome evening. Bear, how you feeling? It's Collegiate Rocket League, and we're set to see it.
The harmony's hitting the soul. That's all I got to say. It's really nice to be here, back in the booth. Of course, we get to be here in live basically every 2 weeks. So to see another week of great matchups ahead of us is one that I always expected and always welcome as well.
And at this point in time, we're at, I think, that big mid point of the week. Not just because it's Wednesday, but also because at this point in the season, there's about 7 to 8 weeks. You got to get all your matches in. This is the downhill slide and that peaking moment for a lot of different programs, because you're either going to be staying undefeated, fighting for a playoff spot, or you might be looking toward the fall. And both these playoffs, or rather both of these teams that we got in our first Division 5 matchup, are trying to stay as #1 seed in the Northeast. It's going to be Edinburgh, the Fighting Scots, versus SVSU Blue.
Yeah, and Edinburgh coming in. Cynical, Aphrodite, and Tank Pillow are going to be the ones sitting at 4-0 currently. But you mentioned it's a battle of the undefeated teams, SVSU, and their blue squad, the 3-0 team, Kendall, Wimps, and TCP Malash will be the 3 for that squad. So they'll be heating it up on the pitch here. So I'm excited to see it. I've never seen Fighting Scots versus a Cardinal. See if they can catch down those birds. Swing. I wonder if the sword can swing that high, Monkey.
It might be able to, and Cardinals are a pesky bird to have to deal with. In fact, I had one when I bought some Pokemon cards land on my one of my rear view windows of my car. It looked at me just with a devious eye, and it was trying to take all of my extra pack. Moving ground for them. Their 3 opponents that have given them a undefeated record so far are in the lower 50% of their division. Edinburgh, they faced off 2/3 of their opponents in the upper 50. So we'll see if this one turns out the way for the Scots, if the Cardinals got some fight.
New England battle here of the B. Oh. It's Div 5. You got Cynical kicking it off in great fashion for the Fighting Scots.
Already a hard dagger, and this one goes right off of a player trying to play some defense, but they return into a trampoline. That's Malosh. I'm gonna go with Malosh. Does that sound right? Malosh?
Malash? It could be one of the two.
Malash?
Correct us in chat if you know. Obviously, we want to give them some love, right?
Malash accidentally turned into a backyard trampoline, but look at the passing that's turned into some big bounces already. And the Cardinals, I mean, they may have been struck upon first. The Scots having this early lead. Good defense from them as well.
Lobs is trying to direct it back towards the teammate, but actually found Edinburgh was right on them and almost able to direct that one too, but SVSU is able to jump on this one too. It's Malash who tries to follow that, but kind of gave it away here in the process. And Edinburgh get it settled down as the Cardinals now right back to it too, but both teams having trouble really trying to grasp onto this ball and be able to work something with it on the offensive side. Malash back to it too, to the corner. Great job to shield. It'll work. Wow, what a shifty angle, and a good 50-50 will equalize.
Great turn on Malash, and some of these are tough to be able to pick up because the defender will over-rotate. They didn't have anyone to fill that gap, and some players, and a couple apparently from the Scots, will think that that's going to hit that sidewall or the post. That thing skimmed and kissed across the sweet air of the old pipeline. So tied at 1 apiece outside the first minute. The Scots are already on the attack.
And Cynical right up to the back wall. It's going to leave it here for the teammate, too. And Afro took no time to place that one back. And Edinburgh steals their lead directly back.
Cynical with fantastic poise and control, and unfortunately, Malash was there just a second too early. Give it an extra half second, to be honest, Bear, and they probably would have been finding that reaction touch to make that one still a 1-1 game. But good look for the Fighting Scots. Now, this has been punch for punch so far. We had said earlier on that both these teams, slightly different resumes at this point in the season, both still undefeated, but slightly different opponents across this division of play. Edinburgh, so far, alongside the Cardinals, it's been pretty dead even.
Yeah, it has been. And it's all going to come down to longevity at the end of the day. You know, both of these teams can certainly perform in big ways throughout the series, but which team can be just a little bit stronger, which ones can take advantage of the little things that, the little doors that open from the tiny mistakes that might develop, that's going to be the difference maker here in this one. Right now, there hasn't been much weakness. There's been more so strengths in 50-50 and grindy battles. I expect nothing less than that for the rest of this year.
And it's been 2 minutes already. Edinburgh, good flip reset here, gained by Cynical. Is going to gain just a tiny bit of ground, and no one bites for it, which means stalling everyone gives Afro a chance. Cynical, look at this control, forcing both defenders to just kind of stare at him, not look at the next target.
And even the second touch there off the front of his car was perfect there with the arrow to be able to launch it to the only place that the defense could not grab to it, so perfectly placed. So we're starting to learn some roles of these players too. For many times, it's been Cynical as a first man, able to set up that play like we saw that was so effective. And then Afro with the follow-up in running through, and Tank Pillow's been the third man, just waiting in case he needed to come through as well. But clear roles have been defined for Edinburgh.
So we're going to find an evolution of sorts across these 7 games. That's how many we can get to maxed out across this series. If both these teams want to stay undefeated, I end up on the other hand of a sweep. Kindle has been trying to play not just some of these ego, maybe some fake outs, but just directly challenging what the back line of Edinburgh is going to stand up to bring. They're going to do so again. And I feel like Kindle across this series is going to start getting even faster. You have another opportunity. Malash is going to be the last man back.
And Cynical now again is the first one to jump onto it. That's a good sign for Edinburgh, but SVSU is able to tap it away. And again, now they leave the door a little bit open. They should be able to rotate in time, but again, passing play, try to keep it away, but Cynical read it extremely well and was able to punch at it and keeps it away. Kindle still in the corner, leaves it here, and Afro able to get it out to midfield. But again, possession changes places. Kindle back down looking for Womps, but a good read again. Edinburgh's been excellent as far as not allowing those passes to get to center field.
That one needed just a tiny bit more power to be speedy over to Womps and might have a shot opportunity. The passes are starting to really multiply here for SVSU. Cardinals still a couple of goals behind, less than 90 seconds through game number 1. Kindle again looking for a lot of individual play, looking for the double tap, ends up being a fake out. That one goes Bardowski and out to the failure gong will ring. Milosh tries to use a single pad of boost to maybe get a strike. They're going to have another opportunity as Edinburgh is tested twice, but they will escape.
Outside of that one goal, that's the best chance I've seen for SVSU, but look out the other way. Tank Pillow now will get some love on the scoreboard. That'll actually be their first time, whether it be assist or goal, and guess who set them up again? It's Cynical there on the sidewall.
Cynical has been an all-around player so far, Bear. You and I are definitely, we get to see really good highlight whenever we view these replays, as well as just total teams. But it feels like Cynical is just an all-arounder, and that's what you kind of need, to be able to get teams, especially affecting forward. In Division 5, sees so much of that growth, and they've allowed both Afro as well as Tank Pillow to feel more confident. So game number 1 has definitely gone the right way for the Scots. Got 45 seconds to go.
Yeah, feeling themselves in SVSU's goal here to try to get something on the board. That could have been it. It's a little bit wide. The follow-up will be there, though. So SVSU wanted to at least get one more. It wasn't exactly how they wanted it, right? You want to be able to convert on that one, but at least they got something.
Hey, something is better than nothing, and it gives them an opportunity, a chance. 38 seconds is plenty of time, depending on how you treat the next kickoff. Got to at least act forward and try to entrap the Scots. They go for a fake. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Hand it off over to Wumps, but it's intercepted. Guess who? It's Cynical. He's not able to get into the bar, but that one definitely stomped out the Cardinals.
reminding me of the Cynical that we used to see like way back in the day, a few years ago, who was certainly an aggressive style player, but not in a way that compromises the positioning of the entirety of your team. It's just smart challenges and quick challenges, and probably a big portion as to why Edinburgh has such a prestigious record on this season thus far. As you see time tick down here, Edinburgh just needs to hold on for a little bit more. This should be it. And they will take game number 1 here as SVSU got the last goal, so they're looking to maybe gain some momentum, but it's certainly Edinburgh with a whole lot more of their presence that really caused a nuisance on their side, but they'll be up 1-0 here after game 1.
Edinburgh, it was their first strike. They were first on the board, and then they were first to make sure to never leave the lead alone. SVSU caught up at least one time, but ever since then, the Scots built a defense that just really wouldn't go away. Now, I say that, it's 3 saves each side, and a consistency of offense that's showing on both sides. Much of it is about how some of that team play is happening. And Cynical, obviously, with 3 assists, by the way.
Yep.
Feeding the ball where it needs to go for their squad. Edinburgh looking very strong. But SVSU, I feel like there's a lot of good moving parts. We got to see some good team passing. We also got to see some good individual play, especially at a place like Kindle.
Yeah, and it's because they got a little bit more creative, and Kendall was in particular the one that was not telegraphing the passes that were across the field, but instead kind of holding on a little bit longer, maybe catching Cynical as he's trying to dive, anticipating a pass, but then maybe changing up the pace a little bit and then kind of swinging it around. Kendall definitely got involved there, and then able to get that last goal to try to get that momentum rolling. So I'd like to see them try to do a little bit more of that, right? Let them come to you, maybe fake them out a little bit. You know, those head fakes can go a long way as far as pulling them out of position. Cynical is definitely hungry, and they're making the right choices right now, but you are responsible for trying to force the other team to play your style of play. That's what I'd like to see from SVSU. I definitely don't have any red flags from them. I think they come right back into game number 2 and we go back and forth like we saw at the beginning of game 1.
I do wonder how many of those plays have already, like your cards have already been tilted from out of Saginaw Valley, because you saw the fake kickoff, and then you got Kindle that has been noted as being a lot more ego and fake heavy. So for Edinburgh, they've been a lot more fundamental and just acting on the execution of Cynical. Gotta wonder maybe if the Cardinals have shown a little bit too much too early. Nice upfield transition, just a little off target.
Yeah, that was a good pass again. The Wops will now have a little bit of space. Trying to turn the car over, to direct that towards the teammate, but again, it's shut down. And now you got a lead blocker out in front, wide open net because of it. Great physicality leads to chances like that, and a 1-0 lead for Edinburgh.
This one, I mean, look at the camera shot. Kendall was literally a man on an island with a 2v1. You have to either find a way through and matrix beyond the initial attacker, jump away from them, and that opens a chance that the Scots are going to be able to capitalize on. Good profits found by the Scots early on. 40 seconds now. Game number 1, again, they have scored first for a second time. Cynical is not a dude you want to see in your windshield of your SVSU on blue grass.
And that's why Wumps did such a good job to send it. Be able to get that challenge midfield since of Kendall. You called his name out after game number 1, and this is a reason why. A big presence there, and just a good job to adjust the car and get that pinch unexpectedly. And SVSU has equalized.
Kendall has been jumping from the other side of the pitch. Full send to challenge whatever they can. What a pre-jump. They're like, you know what? That ball's going to drop here. They're never going to see me coming because there's no reason why they should be looking for me. Afro wants to find a follow-up as this one travels across the front face. But, you know, sing me a song I've seen before, heard at least once. We're 1-1 outside the first minute.
Yeah, I figured it was going to be this close. Milosh just had a great defensive sequence there as well. Haven't called their name extremely that many amount of times, that is, but certainly able to make a big play there to keep us even. And clear out to midfield. Should be turned back in. Took a minute for SVSU to kind of organize who was going to go for it. They eventually jump back to it. Here is Kendall on the side wall. He'll go ceiling high. Went below it. Trying to serve as a fake. Goes back wall instead. Has a follow-up there too. Milosh able to give SVSU a lead.
Attack here. Kendall with the setup. You see 3 defenders on the ground. They have to make a read from that backboard, and it's so difficult to do. Milosh is able to find an immediate follow that is just undeterred. So for the first time through a couple of games, SVSU will finally get our lead. So we have a 2-1 this time, Bear, but Cardinals are on top of it.
And going right back to work, too. No hesitation, just got a goal. Now the confidence starts to rise, and you start to see them making some big plays. The Cardinals are certainly got into their game here at this point. for Edinburgh. Again, no space given up as well. They've been taken away. Kindle has been aggressive, been hungry, turning into the cynical of the SVSU side. So each team has a play and difference maker, and Womp's there with a big one too. Set up by Milosh again. Great play here from SVSU.
This is one of those guys, whenever you see them play and they get some of these shots, you know, in football you hear the ooh if someone's like they had their name is Dom, or if they're like Rufus or something. Do you go womp womp? Like, I need to know, because like that's a funny way to be able to get them. But carrying this one up and down, Afro is deterred.
Yeah, if you're whomping anybody, it's Edinburgh for allowing that to happen. That didn't happen in game number 1, by the way. They were able to shut that down so easily. But I guess times have changed here. And the momentum of the series certainly has. As Kindle again has gotten their stride. Wondering if warm-up was in order. That's a great job to step across and get that touch. You see Milosh already on that one too. I like the bold nature of going after that one, but it might have just spelled trouble. What if Edinburgh had just jumped onto it? And that one was a little bit wide, but no chances taken from the defense of Edinburgh. This one should be able to make it out to midfield. It does not. Womp's right back in. He'll be over this one. And Milosh a little bit too late to react. Still has Kindle behind them. Wants to go back wall. That will waterfall down. Be careful here, Edinburgh. Still not out of harm's way here as Milosh goes back wall. And Womps will follow, but not able to find the angle.
They're forcing the Scots to have to play with their necks craned backward, and I know about that position. You're eventually going to get hurt. You're going to get a crick in the old top of your spinal column. 100 seconds approaching, and SVSU finally is forced to go back to roost. That's a shot on target. Kindle unafraid of what's flying at his net, because the Scots just really have been having one-touch offenses, unlike what they had before. A lot of focus goes towards Cynical to activate for both Afro and Tank Pillow. Without them, there's not been a lot moving. And opposite of that, the Cardinals have been flying together, flocking around. Milosh, ends up being an accidental pass. That makes it within 1.
That entire sequence was cynical in being able to kind of play it down and play possession game. He could have easily given this one away, try to force a pass in the middle in just the last sequence. But he allowed the team to keep it, have another sequence, and then Afro was able to set that one up to perfection, find Tank Pillow in the exact right spots, let the Cardinals bite this time, and pull them back within 1. Another bullet, and Tank Pillow, in a matter of 11 seconds, have been able to equalize.
Tank Pillow taking 2 shots and putting them to bed. Cynical with that demo. Milosh is just still stuck looking at his own net. And what was not exactly a sure thing, but at least a safe thing, you had an insurance goal and then you had the lead. SVSU's 2-goal differential has gone to nothing. Shot on target. That one goes off crossbar.
Man, it is just the matchup we thought it would be between these two undefeated teams. A very tight sequence there, but they're able to lock it down. And for the sidewall, Tank Pillow wants to get it back for Edinburgh. Wants to be able to establish, get back to work here, but Womps is going to play it down into the box and touched away there from Cynical. And Kindle was there, but wasn't able to direct it here. And Milosh will try to just play it across. He's a teammate. Great find and location, and Cynical's not there. And they beat the last man back with that quick touch.
Look at the transitional rotation of this. Right over, I believe that was to Womps. Womps immediately gets that first touch off of it. And this was as they caught it from that back left corner, threw it to an immediate escape lane for the clear, and had 1 man to beat. That is immediately catching the Scots, Fighting Scots off guard. And so they were able to get it back. Tank Pillow, find a couple. This one's a soft bouncer. They don't have the read. They were hoping to put that one in between the pipes immediately. Edinburgh has some work to do in the last 20 seconds.
Cynical had the challenge there, but was bumped off of it. So SVSU tried to play counter game after a quick touch, but it won't be there. It'll be denied. Afro wants to play it to center, and Womps was trying to let Kindle have it. Regardless, he should be able to kill this clock. They tried to. That one in the middle, though. It'll be up high. A long way to go for Edinburgh if they want to be able to keep this one up. That's a good step in the right direction. They also have some port up as well. No boost in the pass, unfortunately, behind Tank. So it will fall to the ground, and SVSU is able to take one as well and equalize the series.
Just as a comparative between these two, the only teams that both of them have played equally into this division is Kettering. Both took the win over them. Obviously, both squads are undefeated. SVSU has played the lower 50% of this division. Edinburgh has played literally the upper 50%, sans SVSU, Waynesburg and Wolfpack respectively to that. We're looking into this one with completely opposite side resumes, but dead even. Looking great for both these squads. And to harken back to the fall semester, SVSU, they missed the playoffs at going 2-4. Edinburgh came in third as they had a tight game 6 in that semifinal. So the fact that both these teams have found massive improvement going into the spring, love that we're seeing haymaker for haymaker, and even a chance for the Scots to maybe having taken over that game. I like that SVSU was able to calm things down and get it one back.
And that's so interesting too, and that's a good point that you made at the very end. But I also want to talk about like where they came from as far as who they played at the beginning of the season, because you could easily fall into that trap and say, well, you know, Saginaw hasn't played anybody, right? Saginaw Valley has just been playing absolutely easy ones, and I honestly fell in that trap too. I was like, well, then that might mean that, you know, they had the easy schedule, therefore not as strong, right? And plus, they don't even have that extra win that Edinburgh has. Until you think about it, and maybe these are just the top two teams. We don't know until basically they play each other how it's going to go, because at the end of the year, you have to play everybody. And, you know, it just shows you that these two could be the top tier, and this makes this even more exciting of a matchup.
And right now, they're proving that this was worth the ticket for admission. So as we go through the first minute, we've always had 2 goals, 1 apiece, about the 1:05 mark. Usually there's been a score by about now. We're trying to get one immediately as Kendall wants to drop it in. Womps is going to set this one aside. And the only thing that I want to see in improvement, at least critically, is that some of this rotation is apprehensive. But what a save by Womps, as they've really come alive since game 2.
They were off their wheels before that shot was even taken. They knew, anticipated, and now they have a chance of their own, but the shots are going to go high. A good opportunity, and that went up the post too. But still, I like where the defense is, but you can't allow the counterattack. Good foot reset, also shut down. Another shot will go far side. And that one finds Twine. It'll be 1-0, Edinburgh.
I think Pillow was able to find that back corner slaughter. Just immediately, they always find themselves in an interesting spot to take advantage of a rotation. There was that little gap off of the back corner, and it all ended up working out for them. So good looks by Edinburgh. They again score first. Hasn't set a pattern though that those who score first win the game, because SVSU's been able to bite back, but the Scots seem to be bearing down.
And Afro right back to it as well. Gets that extra touch, but again, it's just SVSU that's hanging there in the corner, so they're able to fight it off. But pretty low boost, too. Kendall does have plenty in the tank, so they'll be able to challenge into it. But Afro with that huge pinch, it'll go off the crossbar here, still lingering. SVSU got away with one because that one was there for a minute, still available, but it will be swatted at from the Cardinals as they finally get it out to midfield.
Can I just give some love over to Tank Pillow using a non-standard like skin and like everything? Actually accessories in the car. Shout out Fashion, by the way. Less than 3 minutes to go. We finally hit a new rhythm and a new differential as we have only 1 goal. Now with 2+ minutes of Rocket League time. By this point, we've usually had 3 in the past couple of games. It's still a best of 7, so lots to be able to figure out. That one looked like it had some curve to that ball. Cynical will boom that one out. And that's one difference that we've seen recently. There's not been a lot of team control from out of the Scots. It's been a lot of boom ball and chase into the zone.
And that's the funny thing, right? Great pass here, but like you see both teams and you see like goals are going in like crazy, and so you're just like your initial thought is, hey, let's go and try and defend, find creative ways to be able to do so. But you know that both teams are able to punch through as they go. So both teams are defensive minded, but they're still finding little slots like Kendall did here.
They had to narrow this entire pitch to just a single third. Forced Edinburgh to catch them onto the back post, but as soon as they found that one slot to go through the actual back line, then it was curtains. Kendall couldn't quite get the lift. They want to find that frontside fender, maybe get some kind of punctuating punch. Uh-oh, this is a freebie. Maloche wasn't quite there. They didn't want to full commit with nothing in the tank. I think they were vying to be more back in position than they were to take that next chance.
It's Cynical will float one. Found by Kendall now on it, and will stick with it as well, but it got away from his car, and this one will fall into the hands of Edinburgh. But when they settle Again, Milosh was on it, ready for it too. They'll get out to midfield though. Now it's 1v1 situation. Kindle didn't play that exactly perfect. Now the follow-up was available too, but Wom's able to chop at it himself. Now back in. Floater there will challenge, but Milosh, perfect spot at the right time. Now back to them. Another touch. What a read. Oh, now you got to be careful with it. As Kindle had to be very surgical to get that one out to the corner. It was super close.
Kindle is already very clever when it comes to getting some of their initial gathers for their possessions because they like to play much more 1v1 style. So knowing that they had to hit the brakes at a moment's notice. Now this is a toughie. You have two defenders, no boost. They get caught up together in the back line. Let's check out this replay because you're going to see two blue cars right up on top of each other.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Milos was trying for the squishy, I think, and Womps was just trying to dive at it. Either way, they were low on boost. Not much you can do when the Afro man picks his way through and finds that touch. Put in the back of the net here. Edinburgh University now finding a lead here late in this one. We're seeing that same combination we saw a couple of times come back to life. The one that we saw in game one with the Cynico Afro. So they're finding their stride right back to what made them successful in game number one.
Nice dive down here by the Scots. They're going to try and keep the boot down on the Birds. Not let them run upfield and get any extra flight time. Great challenging as they're going man for man with them. And look how little boost exists for the side of SVSU. There is about 20 to 30 at best. They finally get one of those back corner pads, and it looks like they're building up, but it's burned a lot of time. Edinburgh been able to just have this one upfield. Tank Pillows taking the majority of chances player to player. And now it's kind of a soft triple commit. This is a chance for SVSU to step up if they can get this ball, but they let it bounce all the way back maybe for a final possession.
Yeah, it's a couple. Both teams have really haven't shown much weakness as far as communication goes, but both have shown weaknesses in the last little bit. Down to 5 seconds left. They needed to be able to jump onto this, but nobody wanted to touch it, unfortunately, for SVSU. And Edinburgh should be able to loot in this one. Where it stands, they do. Cynical gets a third for Edinburgh, and they'll walk away with game 3.
It was a try to maybe get it upfield. They wanted to get to a teammate, and, you end up just forcing the final dagger backwards. Fighting Scots. They get right back into the lead of this series. So far, have not given it up to the Cardinals. And this was a completely different game plan and a completely different definitive when it came to game number 3. Bear, we had a much lower scoring outcome than we've had in the first couple. It's not quite running out of gas. Feels like everyone is now just understanding those roles that you had kind of talked about earlier and who they need to shut down a little bit sooner.
Exactly right. When you're able to read the play a little bit sooner, it opens up everything, but it closes down what they're able to do on that attack. Now, that being said, Edinburgh is still able to find a way around the adjustments that have been made, and it's kind of like it's right back where we began in terms of what Edinburgh was able to do on the offensive side of the ball. Not as many opportunities, sure, but yeah, you're right. I mean, they just keep trying to play in a way that is a little bit more defensive minded and being able to shut those down. And now it's going to open up a whole different play style, whereas before the success may be found from slowing the play down a little bit, letting them get aggressive, let them dive at balls, and then be able to do something from it to, hey, let's speed it back up, let's find those quick passes, let's do exactly what we're able to do, and we might find ourselves in a barn burner yet again. This is a give and take, an ebb and flow, a tug of war between these two teams, and exactly what we expected. Edinburgh got the best of Saginaw Valley in that game, but whether or not it continues is anybody's guess here at this point.
There was a lot less in terms of meticulous execution for some of the passes getting to one another. So much of the previous games was getting the 1-2 combo, maybe even trying for the third. SVSU has more often tried to engage a 1-2-3 pass upfield play that just isn't hitting because the final part is a lot more telegraphed and intercepted. That previous game, though, was a lot more of the front man taking a back seat. I saw Cynical sitting to that back line. What a drop on target as the front man here in Afro will slam one home early.
Classic combination, man. Like, they have this drawn up, and it's in all different ways, too. It can be a quick pass across. We've seen plenty of times, but that one was a downfield pass redirect type of situation. So no matter what life throws at you, no matter what the Cardinals throw at you, you're able to find a way to capitalize on it. So a great look there from Edinburgh as they continue this same trend.
Kind of kick one out, and Kindle already aiming to get the back end of the rotation from Edinburgh, see if they can get a demo onto anyone and maybe steal some boost. SVSU wants to go directly to both the player as well as the resource. Unfortunately for Kindle, they leave one behind. They've also changed cars. Maybe feeling like they got to be a bit more comfortable in the skin they're in. Oh, a double commit from out of the Scots, and a good rotation back by Cynical.
Just in time. Kendall is there in midfield. Wants to be able to silence them. Hasn't been very successful so far. They're right back to it. Here's Kendall will tap it down, looking for Wams. Good job to find them. They are able to get just enough touch, but this should bounce back down. Dangerous spot. They try to chop at it. Oh, the defense, unfortunately from Edinburgh, helped them out. But Milosh will take it, and so will SVSU.
Afro left with literally nothing. That was probably one of the best touches that they're going to be able to get. Having to look upwards, can't get off their wheels because then they'd have no power to challenge that dropping ball. And that one was basically written for the Cardinals to eventually tie this one up. So this one looking much more like our previous game 1 and 2 Bears. So Edinburgh, it's about, do they catch up? Do they take advantage of the moment and the momentum?
Yes, they have been able to a couple times in the series in big moments, so I anticipate that it's not only possible, but probably coming in the future. And in fact, they're going to try it right now. Milosh does a great job to shield it all the way up on that wall. Ooh. And he'll play it out. Bit of a backflip. Cynical wants to keep to it as well. Edinburgh waiting for that touch, but Cynical got a little bit farther past it. Maybe looking for a bump. I think they just like to send Cynical down the field and say, whatever you can come up with, whatever you can create, we're cool with it.
That's exactly what game 1 and 2 were about, though. And so I wonder where the control has gone. I think Cynical is maybe either taking a pacing away and just saying, all right, I want you guys to play loose, feel comfortable, and then I play back. Or is it by design? That one was so free. Where did SVSU go? I thought there was a demo that had occurred, but Edinburgh just couldn't take advantage of the wide backline rotation.
Yeah, and Cynical off as well, so you thought they would have been able to.
Uh-oh.
Kendall pretty low on boost. That's a great flick. Past one and then forced Afro backwards as well. Although Afro did get the better of the boost battle there at mid, it still serves its purpose at the end of the day to get it away from Yannette. But Kendall is trying to dive. Got 39 in the tank. Womps went up for it and a little bit questionable. Didn't see any boost in the tank. Again, that communication breakdown might hurt them, or will it? They're still trying to find the box. That tap down, though, no intended target for them, unfortunately. So Edinburgh able to punch it back out. Had a chance to get a shot on, but Womps was standing in their way. Cynical then next to try to challenge him, but this one also sent the length of the pitch. We remain 1-1 here with 2:05 left.
This is going to be a high hanger. You already have Womps on the other side post. This has got to be up to Afro to find this touch, and no, they do not. And that ends up with an opportunity for Womps. You saw this set up from the start. Womps was on the back door. He rotated around and had to wait for either that ball to just hit the pipeline or to drop where it will lay.
Yeah, it's not, it was Cynical having to try to avoid, one of the BSU members who was challenging them on the back wall, and they got just enough of them on the bump play to allow them to not be able to get that touch. They did not allow it. So now SVSU trying to answer back in this series again. They went down. They were able to equalize the series at 1 apiece until Edinburgh decided to take it back. So now they have this opportunity, but they got a minute 39 left. So that's off the back wall. Try to follow up on it, but Cynical got just enough to be able to keep that away.
Got Malosh trying to enable Kindle as Kindle, again, they're challenging that back line. I love the passing that we're getting from the top of the key, just around the back. Malosh, nice demo, and Womps is going to give him the handshake. Look at this one as they rotate through. It was just a drop into the corner. Malosh ignores that ball and goes straight for the last man.
It's funny because they womped the defender to set it up for Womps, so appropriately enough, SVSU, one of their bigger leads of the series. I think it ties their biggest lead count. 3-1 currently here. I like how they're just keeping at it, too. Kindle's got this flip reset in hand, waited for the right moment to use it. Try to split two defenders, and the bump will free it up. SVSU might be onto something here, Monkey. The bumps are working.
Game 2 to game number 4. We just taking odds and evens between these two squads because that's how we're splitting them, and they're definitely getting physical. Something was missing in the repertoire. They were trying to go for a lot of the fakes, trying to get a lot of the passes. There's a fundamental process here in Rocket League. You've got a jet engine on your car, and you have the ability to make someone blow up. That one has made the score blow up in favor of the Cardinals.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't even remember when this happened, I'll be quite frank. It's happened so quickly and developed into something that's been out of control. And Edinburgh does not look any different. They're not breaking down. They're literally, they are broken by SVSU. And so that's creating your own chances, creating your own luck. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what we talk about when it's like something has to change. That's a big way that you can do this. And with 40 seconds left, I think it looks like it might be enough to equalize the series, because they've been doing all the right things here in the last minute and a half or so.
Both these teams, it's been what? I think 2 goal differences at minimum per each of these games. Love the individual play that we're getting right there out of Cynical. This is the second setup. I think Tank Pillow was going to be the next one up. They end up diving to the corner, but that will just be squeezed out as a 50-50 between a couple of challengers. 10 seconds to go. SVSU, they took a crack at it and they decided, you know what? This part of the playbook looks really cool. Get physical, delete players, make it easy to move in. We're going to go 2-2 with a best of 3 left to be found. The Scots can't get rid of the Birds that easily.
Nah, no way. They're not going to go away. We knew this was going to be a battle from start to finish, that the adjustments would be coming. That tug of war that I was talking about continues. This time, it's actually farther one side tilted than we've seen in a very long time. Not only on the goal count, but also on the shot count. So both teams really, had that fire until SVSU said, we're gonna get the extinguisher instead. And be able to kind of put this out as far as goal scoring goes for Edinburgh. So now I look towards the mentality here from Edinburgh and see if they can't get this one out of their heads. The last thing they can do is be frustrated because of this.
I mean, 12 shots to just the 5 out of the Scots. I think they had 7 saves, somewhere in that capacity. Only 3 needed for the Cardinals to stay 3 goals ahead of them. So a lot different of an identity for Edinburgh trying to make it through that game number 4. No one has a match point yet. It will be gained into game number 5. And I love that we switch all to best of 7. It elongates our series, but so we can actually divide out who's going to be those upper seeds through divisional play. And this is a couple squads that definitely need it. You had one that ended 3rd place, another one that didn't even get to, join the playoffs in the fall. So this right here in the midpoint of our spring season, absolutely necessary. And they already start with a fake kickoff. Kendall can't quite corral it in.
Yeah, like it. Get right back to the drawing board. Keep them guessing the whole time. This is the way that you can get in their heads and continue to find a little bit of that success. There's that one, Milosh. 1, 2, 3, punch! What a play, tic-tac-toe in that quickly. SVSU up 1-0.
Milosh to Kendall, and Womps is like, cool, let's just send it. That had such power, 129 kilometers per hour in freedom units. That's fast.
A lot of players can hit a banger. Few players can do that and also put it on target in a big way. Saginaw Valley has caught onto something for sure, and it's not just the demos, it's not just the bumps, it is the accuracy, the passing. They're really getting it done in every single column.
First half minute, also the first game there that we've seen SVSU score first.
That's right.
Apparently they decided to open up with some tricks of the trade, taking some fakes in a big team capacity, get some of these setups and see if they work out. Milosh is turned into ashes and echoes. Tank Pillow trying to open up some of that physicality, but Womps has been stomping the yard. Dude finds a second.
Again, just being able to find little places where the defense isn't. The reading of the play there from Edinburgh has certainly disappeared. And I think that's what it goes back to what we were saying. You try to adjust, and if you're caught diving too many times, then your quick reaction is, all right, I'm gonna stay back, let the play come to me. And that's fine until, they make an adjustment. Now you need to recognize that and go back to the diving that we saw. I want to see more activity from Cynical, but it's pretty hard to do when your boost is getting stolen pretty frequently, and that's been the case. So Edinburgh needs to find a solution, find it fast.
There's definitely been some tough cards to at least get a beat into. What a save by Milosh! It doesn't matter as Afro comes right back to it. This one skimmed across the front line. It ping-ponged just in front, behind Kendall rather. But because he came off of that interior backside post, there was still one last opportunity for the Scots to put a shot on. So, we break the pattern, but we go right back to a 2-1.
That's right. And Cynical, again, I like that because you were able to not only stay in the play, but also put it on target in a spot that nobody anticipates. And because it's less predictable, that's why it kind of, you just hope that it stays out. You get a little bit of bounce luck, yes, but at the same time, when it is in a place that they're not expecting, then the follow-up is even more available than it typically is. So great job from Edinburgh to be able to fight that off. It's their first goal in quite a long time, so we'll see if they can build from it.
Or rather, Womps has been hunting for their Hattie if they can get it. And now teams are running in the opposite direction on this pitch, where the ball is, I guess, being long back passed by the Cardinals of Saginaw Valley. If they can get some overall control and force this to be chased by the Scots of Edinburgh. With one top side, don't have a lot of boost. Tank Pill is going to be on the opposite end of Afro to try and help him out. This will be a chance. Can't get above the ball, and they're already being cut off by Kindle. Safely asserted aside. They use some physicality to just get away from these attackers. Edinburgh, though, is starting to pinch in the cards.
Yet I like that they're not really necessarily taking shots just because they want to. They're also banking it off the back wall to see if SVSU will bite and then find the right time where they're finally out of position and find a more open net. Then be able to take it from there. The bump, though, will make it dangerous here, but the Fighting Scots are able to get it away temporarily. Good pass, though, to the center, but the shot going to go well high.
Gotta get above the ball whenever it's bouncing like that. Still, I love the idea. Kendall immediately saw Womps and they were like, you know what, we're gonna take a chance on this one. Unfortunate for them, they couldn't get it in, but Edinburgh's still under threat and fire. Looking for a bump as Malosh can't get rid of him. That's a double commit by the Scots. Afro was able to catch it. That one could have been very dangerous, Bear. There would have been no one at home, and look how Edinburgh still is finding daggers and ways. Kendall will put this one off to the side. Malosh had a better line to try and make this one out, and that gives the Scots a second chance.
And the foot reset, and they kind of left it there. Good bump, though, and Cynical, oh my, dove in a little bit too early. Communication has to be there. It just wasn't in that moment.
Less than 90 seconds to go. Edinburgh can see it. They can smell it. A tied ball game is just around the corner, and yet SVSU seems to be sweating it out and finding a way. Everyone on the retreat. Scots have to go to their own backside. Kindle gives his life, and now they take a shot. Malosh wants to make it a 2-goal ball game again. A minute is approaching, Bear. Edinburgh, they've been able to get back to the office. They just left their keys in the door. That's
right, and Cynical. Oh, does he have this help, though? Looked like they were trying to avoid the bump back in front, but there's no follow-up there as Afro was a little bit too far back, didn't have the boost in the tank. And so they had a couple of prime opportunities, did not quite find it. But they'll have a few more shot taken. Cynical made a big save earlier, and the last thing you want to do is let that go to waste. You can tell he's hungry as he's finding another pass. Here Afro taps it back up to him. They try to avoid him, but Kendall somehow stuck with that play and got the read. He'll be right back out for SVSU.
They aimed for the 50-50 on that vertical column, seeing if that ball would end up just dropping off of the ceiling and otherwise. Kendall with a back pass, goes over to Womps. Womps looking for the third to add to the old backpack. They have someone from the other end. It's a full race to take away boost. They do it. Cynical finds a corner boost. This might be the last chance. 10 seconds to go. It's for match point. Edinburgh Scots, can they get something on target? Afro will have this taken away. Cynical has to back up, aim for a bouncer off of his nose, gets a flick, denied by Kendall. This one will drop to the ground. The Cardinals, they've stolen their way to the lead in this series.
Yeah, that was nice being able to stick with it because Edinburgh certainly looked like the better team, especially in the last 3 minutes or so. They were able to put something together that denied so what looked like certain opportunities there for Edinburgh. So SVSU now will just kind of keep on this driver's seat here. Womps' 2 goals at the very beginning, really to kick things off, was certainly a big portion of this win. And their defense stepped up when they needed to for sure. Remember, this was a barn burner early, but to have 6 saves on the board here certainly feels good. And Saginaw Valley is right in where they want to be, cruising towards the tail end of the series, looking to see if they can close out now at match point.
I have no idea if this is going to end in 6 or 7, Bear, because right now both these teams have found ways to get their front runners to really pull up. The problem is that I feel like we've seen maybe kind of just a one-track identity from out of Edinburgh, and it just doesn't work as often, especially because you have way more fluidity for the offense now burning really red hot from out of SVSU. They have found so many midfield passing plays. They started off with one to kick off that game number 5 to give them this match point, and they had 2 goals off rip. Womps looks nasty. Kendall looks fantastic. And overall, Cardinals, they look like they're aiming for the number 1 seed at least through these 4 weeks of this division. Now, Edinburgh, good news for them. They've been able, for the majority of these games, to score first. They're going to do it again. They got to put the Cardinals on the back foot.
Monkey, they're not just the Scots. They're the fighting Scots. They will be fighting to the tail end. And you know
Can they do it?
Can they do it? Exactly. It's all about dialing in here at this point. And seeing where they can really develop their play even further. But we've been saying SVSU's been having stronger and stronger starts as well. You know, it's been the last couple of games where they've been starting on time and getting goals pretty quickly. And right now they're looking for yet another one. As that one will be tipped down, and the pass is just a little bit too high. Now nobody back. They want to get back to it. Not enough to steer it away. A rare breakdown here for the Cardinals will open the door for Edinburgh.
It was off of the deflection with Milosh. They go up for the challenge. It wasn't a bad idea, but because it was the second touch out of Milosh for it, it just ends up going right behind the third man who had no idea that that was going to tromp through. Maybe another quarter second, another one could pop up, but tough to do in stride. That's a free shot opportunity. Afro's going to have this challenge. Is Tank Pillow going down? You betcha. And Cynical's going to try one more time. He sees everyone is stuck backwards with no boost.
Yeah, and look to expose it. Afro still on it here. But Milosh was able to find it there back wall as well. Cynical gets that extra touch, but the bouncer will go high up the target. I like the idea, I like the aggression, just wasn't able to get it.
So Edinburgh showing some resiliency through these 5 games. You would think with the way the pattern has gone, the Scots, fighting Scots, would have had themselves the match point first. SVSU broke through that back and forth, and Kendall will have to be able to find their way out of the back line. SVSU has found it tough to escape. Even tougher to now stay upfield. They go right back to their old ways of game number 4, getting physical, but the saves still come up as Cynical has been revitalized.
Yeah, he's been very good, very quick. And his reaction time, excellent. Recovery speed there on the defensive play, very impressive. Still looking for more, though. Not comfortable with the 1-0 lead, especially when your backs are against the wall in the series. They're going to be hungry for another one. Want one. Cynical was there, but a great job from Wumps to recover and shadow this one. Lifted there again from Cynical. He's finding really unique ways to put these on target and really challenging the Cardinals' back line.
Seen all of 1 goal through 2+ minutes. Feels very similar to our previous games we had before, where it came down to, I think, about a 2-1 or 3-1 ending. That one was for the Scots around game number 3. Womps had just enough boost, want to give it his main man in Kendall. Let him run upfield. Dude loves to challenge everything that moves and needs some extra boost to be able to get that done over the halfway mark there. Haven't seen a lot of promise just yet out of SVSU. They are starting to meet the Scots in the midfield. I feel like the Scots are still dictating the majority of how this game is being played. That's a great shot. It's going to be a loose ball. The Cynical is still there to fill the gap.
Fine, you're starting to feel it come together, and that's my concern. Yes, we haven't seen much from the Cardinals, but it doesn't have to take much time. There's been so many times where they've had spurts of goals, 2 goals, 3 goals within 30 seconds. So that's what scares me a little bit. If you're Edinburgh, you certainly can't be comfortable, but they have done a good job limiting, yes, but now you can tell they're all over this net right now when they want one.
150 left. Oh, right behind him. Wobbs is able to force the defender backwards. It was Milosh just trying to divide and conquer. They got just enough. And look at Cynical. That was the tightest gap, and they couldn't react in time.
When you say threaten the needle, that's, I mean, that is the prime example. Like, there was not much room at all, short post. Great find, great placement, and had the pace as well to be able to beat them to it. That was great. They found it in a heartbeat, and that's what I'm talking about, because now they go right back to work again. They're just 1 goal away, and maybe even just a couple seconds from finding the lead. So, Edinburgh, though, oh no, back door open. Cynical takes the lead back for Edinburgh.
Cynical has got to be shrugging this game. 2 separate goals just off of a back line. Was it Womps the last time as well? No, it was Milosh last time, I think.
Yep.
Regardless, it's challenging into Cynical. That has definitely been part of the Cardinals game to make sure they shut them down. But unfortunately, both times that they've done so at midfield, it has just gone the complete wrong direction.
Yeah, so now you've got your work ahead of you just because of, like, tiny mistakes that are happening, developing. Look at that pass, though, back to Kendall. I like that idea. If Cynical had not been there, that would have been a launched shot. So Cynical will thank his lucky stars that he was out challenging for some reason.
And it approaching is where things start to get sweaty because the Scots trying to force a game number 7. SVSU need to get this tied up in regulation or otherwise. We'll see this one go the distance and a lot of momentum heading for Edinburgh. 50 seconds now. Malosh is having to head the wrong way. They intercept, they slow things down. Afro takes away a touch from Kendall. That's gonna be now some dividing and at least a little bit of dueling. All 3 players for the Scots are in the same corner.
Yeah, and they got an opportunity now. There's where you want to strike. You'll be all the way up to the ceiling. Milosh didn't go for it. And I think he thought it was going to be beat to it. He might have been right. Either way, you have another opportunity. Touches it. It's right to Kendall. That touch middle. What a play, but what a save from Tank Pillow.
What a read. Tank Pillow has got a chance to just put this on ice and get this to a game 7. Scott's trying to stay undefeated. So are the Cards. 10 seconds left. Malosh with an interception. Do we go the distance? Or do we see this one go to OT? 4 seconds left. Cardinals try to kick this one out, but they are being driven downfield by Edinburgh. Kendall's gonna try and keep it up. He gets underneath. It doesn't gain any north and south distance. Kendall over to Womps. It's gonna get red, and we are fed an entire series. We're heading to 7.
Yep, I figured we might be. Right when I saw game 1, and we saw how close it was, we were talking about buzzing it. For some reason, my brain doesn't do it much where it's like, oh, this one's going to 7, like right off the bat, because I don't like to see that far in the future in a series. You never know, especially with teams that are always growing, always, becoming different teams along the way, whether it be for good, for bad, either way. This has been exactly what I thought it might be. Game 7, and we go there, and both teams have certainly earned it. They've been good in the moments where they need to be, and it's all in little different ways, too. They've been adjusting to be able to manage some solo plays, but it's been mostly team plays, and that's what makes it exciting for you at home as a viewer and for us here in the booth as well.
Well, we're going to get to see everything that we want. 2 teams that are undefeated, fighting to be the number 1 in their division through Division 5, or at least through their conference of this one, and see if it's going to work out for them and make it into the playoffs. A huge turnaround from out of Saginaw Valley State, trying to turn that fall into a spring full of success. The Scots, they've got unfinished business to try and make it into a much larger bracket. Can they get it done here? A shot on target, and Cynical. They have brought the spark.
There it is, up high. Cynical known to be the one to set them up, but Tank has gotten involved as of late. You love to see it. We don't call their name much because they are very comfortable in that 3rd-man role, but they've been active as of late. It's almost like they're like, hey, we need one more step in the process to be able to get over where the Cardinals are. And it's been working. Tank Pillow coming up in the biggest of moments, and Cynical going right back to work had it not been shut down from Womps.
Great read by Womps, and I like the fluidity and I like the patience that we're getting out of Cynical, especially now that they're speeding up. They're messing with the overall pace. The SVSU has been basically used to dictating for the last couple of games. Now, will this be a 2-game turn in favor of the Scots? Not just to be able to tie up this series, but maybe to take over game number 7. It's been a lot of Cynical, a lot of the time. Great follow from out of Afro.
Yeah, he's still reading the play extremely well. It's one of the things we liked about him, as well as his ability to score goals. Womps wants to prove, goal scorer as well. In SVSU, they have such a unique sense for one another. Like, I don't know if they're looking around like backwards, but they seem to find each other. It seems like they have a sixth sense almost as far as finding these passes. They have a grand opportunity right now, but they weren't able to get that touch. And Tank Pillow comes across just in time. Still in the box though, but they're not able to finalize.
It's definitely been an SVSU that's just showcased a lot of great midfield passing. A lot of those gaps have been presented by the Scots. It feels like Edinburgh has retreated a time or two more, and maybe they need to, but SVSU, they can't get past this guy, Tank Pillow, as he's able to challenge down. Malosh gets forced away. This one's going to be a pickup, and honestly, I would have let that one bounce over, but they thought it would threaten the interior post. It's going to go up crossbar. It will ring out, still comes down. Waterfall's ready. Womps has to get to it. There's not a lot of boost right now for the Cardinals as Saginaw Valley State is being caged in.
That was behind Cynical, so Afro will have to jump up in their place. They're in an awkward spot. The shot's there, available. Edinburgh up 2-0.
Cynical just waited. It was a great set. And Kendall just can't find the spacing. They were right next to the ball, and they probably thought they had maybe a half second more to navigate to the right. But it looked like they were going kind of for that mid-neutral space between them and Cynical. So, unfortunate for the Cardinals. The Fighting Scots They're gonna build. They might be doing it a third time. Can't quite get the clear.
You're next up, Saginaw Valley. What do you have left? Show you can dig deep. Not much if you're off the pitch. That's a great demo there from Cynical. Tank Pillow now will settle it in. Still 2:42 left. Still some time. That's the good news here for the Cardinals. As Cynical goes right back to the goal line at a couple of touches. That one almost snuck in too. He likes to find those crazy angles, but finally a good look there from Kindle, but he's going to be demoed again and right back into the hands of Edinburgh.
We've not seen a 3-goal lead in this series yet. The most that has happened, well, I say that at least 3-0. Big demo, finish the fight. They don't have Kindle there in time or another player to be able to get that demo opportunity finished. But 2-0, if this evolves into a third in favor of the Scots, Cardinals might be sending themselves back to the nest with sad times. Womp's trying to get some kind of doink, and it looks like SVSU is in a prime position to finally profit.
Yeah, when you step up, if you're Milosh, that was the right time, but very low miss there at midfield. Kindle finally gets to it. Luckily, with the 2 cars there, they're able to find a way, but it still gets to the box and denied. Off the ceiling it goes, and a good read here again, as Edinburgh will get it out. Afro wants in. Kindle denies. Killing more time, though, is Tank Pillow as they go right back into the Cardinal zone. That shot as well! A great snipe from Cynical. They got a 3-goal lead.
This might very well do it. Tank Pillow has been all over this. They force out the backline defender, and Cynical, they are finishing this series exactly how they started it, with authority. SVSU, if they want to dig deep, it's got to happen right now.
And they have drawn up kickoff plays in the past, wondering if that was coming back. Looking pretty good. They do get one here with 121 left. And that's exactly what you're talking about, Monkey. Not only their creativity, but it's coming at the exact right time. They still have life.
Got a tiny little fire that's blowing in the winds of this hurricane from the Scots. Have to be able to keep it safe, but you have to build it. Gotta be a lot of tender. Kendall, he's got a pump step. See if we can get something onto this. Womps will get it to the near side post, and Tank Pillow wants to intercept as well. This is going to go over the second man, but look who's going to keep it safe. That's Cynical with the shot.
Oh, but look at them trip over one another. Cardinals got to be careful here. That shot will challenge them, but not enough. That one's saved out, and Kindle was able to get a touch on it too. Afro a little bit late to this one. Womps trying to get back down. Almost had that touch. Follow-up is there. SVSU back within 1 with 55 seconds remaining.
Bell ain't been rung. Timer's not 0. This ball's still flying. And there's still a hope, still a dream for the Cardinals to stay undefeated. Edinburgh, you got 3-0. It's been erased, just down to 1. SVSU needs to make sure this is not all for naught. 50 seconds left to go. Womps and company, they're gonna corral together, see if they can take down the Scots. A chance by Kendall that will be denied.
And every goal and every chance, it becomes more and more real in your mind, and therefore more likely for the team looking to make the comeback. SVSU, opportunity, they have numbers. Good fake to get around 1. The challenge is late. Good passing play, but a big save there from Afro.
Less than a half minute. They're gonna have to make another one. Womps is already up. Shot! Womps takes it. 3-3. We're all tied. 3 one way, 3 the next.
It was so close. We knew it was coming. And just that close as well. The dive right up on it, but no touch given. And now the tide has shifted completely. Even ground here in game number 7.
Going full sail, but Cynical's still on the field. He's looking for a double tap, and he denied at the gate. 15 seconds left. The Scots have got to dig deep because their sails are limp. They're in dead water and dead seas. Just a singular second left to go as you get Edinburgh. They're on the ropes. SVSU wants to bend down upon them. Milosh will not be able to collect. We've got overtime in game 7 for our first match tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Chat, get alive. Off the kickoff now. Opportunity. Don't want to miss it because it can be done in just a flash, Monkey. We've seen it so many times.
Well, these teams got to calm down. It's a tough road to have to travel. This one's overhead. It goes off the backboard. A follow-up shot. That one also at the backboard. Last man! Afro!
Finally, you held them off just long enough. Yes, it went to overtime. Yes, you scare everybody in chat. You scare all your fans. But you knew that you had the confidence to go back out and find the overtime winner, holding off what would have been an epic comeback and breaking the hearts of the Cardinals here in this one. It's Edinburgh that wins in this series in 7.
Woo! That was a wild first series. Bear! This is what we come here for every week. Oh my goodness. You guys were given a treat. Edinburgh, they have got to be shaken. They could be like, okay, wait. Hold up. It was 3-0. They were down from match point. It was 3-2. They had to fight that game number 6, got to 7, and they were like, okay, it's gravy. Cynical was looking awesome. And then all of a sudden, Saginaw Valley State, they were looking fantastic. A hero's moment that was just denied in overtime. It took every single player getting a touch from backboard and then downward. Great fight. Honestly, fantastic series. Someone had to come out with that one in the losers column, but both these teams really showed out.
Yeah, my analysis will be really short. It felt like the circle of life there, because we went right back to Afro getting it done. And it was like closing out, like the Fibonacci sequence. It's just like we got closer and closer to something, but then it all came back to its original point, into something incredible, which was Afro being the goal scorer, set up by Cynical, and it was the same story that needed to happen for them to get back to it, and it just kept happening, like longer and shorter and shorter and shorter sequences, until we finally got back to the beginning, which is Edinburgh able to get just enough to get through Saginaw.
Whew. All right. Well, that was our first series of the day. We have another one
Right.
just around the corner. Yeah, we've got 2 more, actually, as we're going to have the Heston Larks JV squad down in Division 8 alongside the Arkansas State Scarlet squad. It's, one team looking for a win, the other trying to also stay undefeated. You guys can see all that and more here with NECC. We'll be back after this short break.
Well, I know you know that like it's colder, colder when I'm older, older than I am. And I know you know that I have lost composure, but I'll hold you closer while I can. I never told you that I'm slightly broken, that I might lose focus when I am. I know you know that life is colder, colder when you're frozen over like I am.
Welcome in, everyone. We got our next match ready on the docket here with NECC, some Rocket League on a Wednesday. And again, I'm Hail Monkey Man alongside Bear Light. You guys were given a treat in our previous matchup, a Game 7 for that Division 5 matchup. What a showcase we got to see. Well, we shift gears, and I like that, across the semester and across much of our productions, we're going to see even more of our divisions. Division 8 is up on it. I think we have like 10 divisions. So like what we're going to be moving into is we have the Heston Larks and versus Arkansas State Scarlet. So Larks and some good old Red Wolves. Don't birds mess with wolves from time to time?
I'm pretty sure there's like there's got to be like some folk story back in the day that you are all about. So let's take a look at the players here that represent these teams. Heston Larks JV team coming in with one of my favorite names of all time, Dreyer Slayer. Sounds really cool. Yoki and Alex will be the 3 for them, and then Arkansas State coming in Lash, Mr. Simp, and Jack the Ripper. That's pretty scary, Monkey.
Okay, I saw Jack the Ripper in chat. They said 6'7", so obviously they're ready to go. That's the right thing. Do you feel like Dreyer Slayer is the name of someone that definitely pops their collar? That's got to be a thing, right?
That's for Dreyer Slayer. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. You know what? For Dreyer Slayer, we got our collars
done
so,
for the rest of the series. But
yeah, the entire time.
Only if you perform, though. Only if you perform to top. So we want to push our players here at NECC to the best of their abilities, and that's one way to do it here in the West B Division 8. Let's go.
Boom. The biggest thing about this match. Dreyer Slayer Company with Heston Larks, they are looking for their first series win. Arkansas State Scarlet, they're trying to stay undefeated and be in a 3-way tie for first. So trying to maintain that supremacy here in the spring.
It's a legacy you're looking for sure. Arkansas State, we know well about their program. I mean, they've been around for quite a long time. They've been involved with NECC and very appreciated, as well as a team that has been able to grow and has that depth. So this is the Scarlet team again here from Arkansas State, but they have plenty of teams just about every single year. Rocket League's been a core portion of who they've been, and clearly it's showing as far as their record goes for the year.
Sim trying to collect, but they're going to let it go to Lash, and I'm seeing a lot of proactivity from out of Lash. And when it comes to these divisions of play, you often will get one breakout player, especially when it comes to be it either their varsity or their club levels for all of these squads. So see if that ends up being kind of the case here. I love Yoki's challenge. They divide between a couple. Lash will be able to stop them, and that's going to actually take an extra effort from Lash to stop that next would-be shot for the Larks.
Falls back into the Larks' hands. They're trying to settle it here, but they're having a tough time here as Arkansas State was on it. Third man will have to field that one backwards as Dreyer Slayer was laying on some pressure there on the counterattack as Alex goes right back to work. This one off the corner. Finds his way to Jack, and Jack, the Jack attack makes it out to center field. Now a 1v1 situation, lots of room given up, but they are able to kind of fight that one off. It's still in tough place here as the Red Wolves were kind of surrounding them in a pack, but the Heston Larks are able to get out.
Dreyer Slayer was staying very poised, but a little bit too sideways on the goal line, so they had their teammate come up to try and help him out. Swing and a miss, whifty-whifties for 2 separate players. As Arkansas State Scarlet suddenly is on the back foot. You have Yoki Bay that got demoed out. No boost for the front lineman. Lash gets bumped aside, but there is at least one man on the goal line in the form of Mr. Simp. We'll send that one forward. So we don't have any goals as of yet. Both are taking these very long and forward rotations kind of directly up the middle and seeing what they can get as it skirts to that back line between posts.
Been finding little places, but I mean, both defenses have been pretty hype. Their attacks are looking stronger and stronger, though. That one will be tough, but it will float just a little bit wide left of the goal mount. Opening it up for Lash, but he wasn't able to get the touch. This one will fall back to Alex. We'll go ceiling high left there, and that's a great shot there from Simp. Basically from the ceiling, Red Wolves up 1-0.
This was a tough pick because Dreyer Slayer was on the ground. Alex had to go and find it, but off of the flip, they couldn't catch up to the ball. The separation and the pre-jump out of Mr. Simp allowed him to dagger that down as soon as the possession was lost. Arkansas State, they were there to capitalize, and it took over half of a game, but they will have that first goal.
Yeah, a little bit opposite of what we saw in the last year. This is a little more defensive-minded, it seems. As both offenses look to find their way, find their traction, get something going. That's a good challenge. Backline Sims at it again. Had Jack the Ripper there as well, pretty close, but by the time they got to the box, Heston was luckily enough, they were able to get to it. For their squad to get it out here midfield, it'll go. Lash leaves it here for a teammate, and Simp's quick enough to get the punch in. It'll basically be a chip and chase there as the JV Heston Larks team. Well, they took a minute to try to get back to it, and Lash was about to fall on that as well, almost creating another chance for the Red Wolves.
I mean, so far, everyone from Arkansas State has really chipped in, especially to this matchup, just overall for possession and making sure that the Larks are uncomfortable. I'm expecting big things from out of Lash, out of what I've seen so far. This is a second approach. The third man coming in, Mr. Simp was going to be the third. Ends up in traffic along with Heston. Dreyer Slayer just sends this one to the corner. Got to watch out. Nice challenge as Mr. Simp took that inside lane as it was giving up space. 70 seconds right now. Arkansas State Scarlet has our singular goal for game number 1.
Came off the car of Simp, who's been doing lots of work. Again, had another touch from the corner that almost set himself up there, but got a little bit ahead of himself. But won't matter much if they're able to just kill this clock. They were able to get a touch here, and now it's just kind of left there as Simp tried to play it back in. Will be demoed in the process, but that one left here and still in the Heston Larks end. It has been for an extended period of time.
Lash is going to be able to steal that corner. They get this ball touch. That means they maintain possession. They're depleting the gas cans of the Larks. And Arkansas State is honestly just playing a war of attrition against Heston. The Red Wolves have not allowed them to really move too far. This one will force them upwards. Alex will get pinch off the wall. It doesn't really provide much in the way of opportunity, and this one goes over the head of Dreyer Slayer. Lash upfield. We've only got seconds remaining.
This one plays offside, but still Red Wolves all day. The Scarlet teams look good. This is finally an opportunity, though, with 5 seconds left. And Alex will push in. They look like they have a bump attempt out in front. They try to chip it across, try to find Dreyer Slayer, who will keep it temporarily up in the air. This one still hangs there. And looking for the back wall opportunity, but will be killed down ultimately by the Red Wolves as Arkansas State and their Scarlet team will take the 1-0 lead in the game and in the series as well.
A quick burner through all of one single goal. Didn't have any really stoppage of play. A lot of defense really having to get picked up by the Larks, and it felt like obviously that as you look at the shooting column, rather doubled up was the shot count for Arkansas State. Much of it coming from Mr. Simp, as some of those were just kind of layups out of Lash and Jack the Ripper. So Arkansas State making the best of what they could get from this game. Looking like a traditional soccer game with that kind of score.
Yeah, they honestly did. Like it was
Put our
that.
collars down?
Did we? Oh, mine just naturally fell. Sorry, that's my fault. Clearly, I didn't see enough out of Dreyer. I'm just kidding, Dreyer Slayer. You did perfectly fine. No, I think it did look like that because I thought it was, in all things considered, the quick passing and then being able to kind of control it and then make a move. So it was a little bit of a slower pace, which isn't anything bad at all. In fact, it kind of plays into the defensive narrative there. But yeah, it was very much so very similar to what we saw the last time around, where you find your most momentum and most opportunity from one of the players just going downfield like Simp was. Just like we saw last time, they were kind of creating those plays by opening things up. And that's why it felt like it was like tap-ins or little loose change opportunities that they did find. Simp was creating plays and finishing them. So I expect a little bit more than that. But, based on a 3-0 team and a 0-2 team, it seems pretty close. So that's good news here for Heston Larks JV coming into the rest of the series.
I'm hoping that game number 2 gets a little bit looser. I'm not saying that it needs to be a shootout. Obviously, everyone loves themselves. It's kind of a back and forth game, but it felt like that there was kind of an apprehension for getting more upfield. Also, I saw for Heston's rotation, they were more on top of one another. I saw a lot of, hey, goalie's here. I'm going to overrun him. I'm going to leave him there. I'm like, let him in. Get him moving. But the problem, too, they want to overrun him because they don't have that momentum. And once you hit your brakes in Rocket League, it's kind of tough to start again.
It is, yeah. You want to keep that momentum swinging. Learned that from Squishy back in the day, actually. He's been teaching that since the get-go. So finding those demo. There is Heston Larks actually had plenty of opportunity. Now here's another one. This one's there. They strike in. 1, 2, 3. That's the rotation you're talking about. Much stronger here for the Larks as they grab the lead.
There has actually been a sub as well, as Dreyer Slayer has been subbed out and Omar is in. So maybe some of this rotation is also indicative from their personnel change. I like when rosters and programs are unafraid of getting more players involved.
I'm a big fan of that monkey, and also it explains why my collar just naturally fell down on its own.
Because Dragon Slayer's not there.
Now you're picking up. And so are the Larks, actually. But now, so are the Red Wolves, as they've gotten the last couple of opportunities here. But love seeing Heston Larks being able to come back here. Another opportunity presents itself, and a follow-up. This time, Yoki Bay able to make it 2-0 here for the Larks.
Completely different look right now from out of Heston. We did not see this in the previous game. The follow-ups were a little bit too far back. They were acting from more of that mid-third of this pitch whenever they would drop something into the bucket. Now, you have first approach, beat the defender, force them to make a move, and second man coming in. That's the kind of 1-2 combination that pays off. It sets the Larks up in a great way through our first minute.
Omar's got a lane here, too. Everybody getting involved here. Everybody on the goal column. Heston Larks finding the little spaces around the Red Wolves.
Great pickup. Just swinging out from that outside right to be able to get through that rotation, because Arkansas State wants to move to that wall. You deny them wall space, and you force them to play much more to the floor. And look at that. Profits for the Larks. That one's going to be a follow, but they can't get it to the second man. Mr. Simp will put at least one up for the Red Wolves.
There it is. Yeah, I wanted to see that back from the Red Wolves too, because they it looked like they fell asleep, got a little bit complacent as far as getting out and getting challenges. This time they created their own to get outs, and then once they got to the offensive side, it felt a lot more natural. By the way, that's the only second goal in the game by the Red Wolves, and they have a 1-0 lead in the series versus the 3 here from Heston Larks. So they're going to have to create more offense here, clearly, because Heston Larks are able to find some of their own. So watch and track that here as they look to find ways to do so.
Got to create pressure to force mistakes from out of a defense. That is often where some of these offenses end up running up. If they just can't create a totality with passing or otherwise, then force your opponent to make a miscue, an error. A nice bouncer, Mr. Simp. This one goes from out of the corner. It feels like Mr. Simp is quite the opportunist.
Got in all 3 goals here for Heston, for Arkansas State. So yeah, 100% is able to wait for it. You said force mistakes here. I don't even know if that one was forced per se. I think it just kind of happened, developed, and yeah, you're right. They're an opportunistic player, as they did put that one in, pulled them back within 1. And quite the opposite of what we saw in game number 1, I'll tell you that. A 1-0 defensive battle becomes a barn burner.
I feel like they're scoring too many goals. They can't keep up. You go from the 1, what is this, 5? Nonsense. 2 minutes already. And actually, already, barely. For game number 2. Arkansas State is looking for not just answers, but continuing solutions to force the Larks to have to retreat. Been our second bird team of the night. Arkansas State trying to put them back into some roosting positions. You had a double commit, but it doesn't turn into a clear. So good looks here for the Larks to at least relieve some pressure.
Alex is going to tap this one backwards. I don't think they realized that they were being chased, though, because teammate was low on boost. Opponent was not. That's a shot. Yoki had trouble trying to back up and get to the back post to make that save. Maybe a little bit too far forward positionally, but they did a good job to recover and dive at this one. And now Freebie tries to flip it up. This will be sealing. You have 2 members of Arkansas State here, and they do finish. No other than Mr. Simp, who's got his 4th of the series, 3rd of the game, and they're equal.
Look at this answer. Mr. Simp is all over this. Arkansas State does not bend backwards and break under the Larks. The initial run up in that sprint, fantastic from out of Heston. Since then, Arkansas State has found themselves right back in the driver's seat, especially as we go 3 each with 2 minutes to go. Ooh, swing and a miss here from Mr. Simp. It becomes an awkward moment. This is going to hang high. Anyone already on the pre-jump? No one challenging. Everyone's staying back. Look how much space the Larks have given up to allow Arkansas State to operate their defense.
Exactly. That allows them to get out just the little space they needed. Going to the far side, but shut down and taken over to the corner. Only got as far as about 1/4 of the way out of their zone here, and Lash was able to jump up, slam that one top bins, and Arkansas State Scarlet had brought it all the way back.
I've been waiting for Lash to operate here, and they just take it themselves. Mr. Simp wanted to keep up their scoring ways, but Lash has decided they're going to do it all themselves that time around. I feel like the Larks were expecting the second man to be the true, at least, attacker. That's now a lead change going in favor of the Red Wolves with 85 seconds. And Arkansas State trying to command this series.
Ooh, they're looking good right now. They're on fire. Jack the Ripper able to set this one high, and then Lash did the rest to be able to go top bins again. And Heston Larks now are finding themselves being more reactionary instead of proactive in Arkansas State. When they smelled that blood in the water, they were able to attack quickly and efficiently.
Mr. Semp already trying for yet another one. That's going to be a rollover of that car and kind of a fork tire touch reset on the barrel roll, and they're again all over them. 2-goal lead. You would not have thought that this one was initially Heston Larks in the driver's seat. Arkansas State has been taking these Larks for a ride. Yoki with one person to beat, taken away, goes backboard. Now with 8 goals supplied between these two, Bear, feels like Arkansas State can do no wrong.
Yeah, no doubt. Just kind of riding it out here at this point in time. They scored so many goals in a row. It was kind of ridiculous. I love it. How they were able to answer back to it. For the Heston Larks JV team, though, they're not quite loving it. But they did showcase that they do have opportunity to be able to take over a game and be able to kind of dictate that pace. And so, that's one of the few positives that you take out of this game after kind of a borderline collapse here. But they'll look back, get back to it too. And it's not quite over. 16 seconds left. Certainly needs something quick. But Lash has full control and dives just past Alex here too. Omar with one ditch effort here to try and slam this one in, but nothing doing as it's denied by Jack. What a comeback effort here for the Red Wolves as Arkansas State Scarlet will be able to get another win on the board. They'll be up 2-0 in the series.
Down but not out. Arkansas State proving they've got some extra gut check to give themselves and get right back into a game. 7 shots, a hat trick from out of Mr. Semp, who continues to just be prolific through this series. A key note, Bear, for both of these teams through their series of play so far, now into week number 4. Heston Larks, the 2 that they've done, there was another one that still has to be rescheduled, but their 2 losses come from the only other 2 teams that are tied with Arkansas State undefeated. If it happens again tonight, every single loss that they would have had is to the 3 first place teams that are all undefeated. Like, what are you supposed to do? You're like, man, we had to go against these guys first. What? Oh, but they've looked promising.
I feel that pain with a passion. I also, with Post University, I've watched quite a few of theirs, and that's exactly how their season starts too. You've literally just played everybody who also has won against everybody else, and you're like, all right, cool. It's kind of one of those stats that we were talking about in the first series as well, where it's like kind of a little bit misleading because it's like, yeah, you might have played weaker teams. It's kind of the opposite of that, right? You might have played weaker teams, but then like, does that really mean that you should be a certain record or shouldn't be? Because you're down and you have 0-2 on your record does not mean that you're out, or 0-3 rather. You can bounce back. You can challenge the top teams, and really, that's why I think they've been able to keep it close, but obviously, it's going to feel real bad going to 0-3, especially knowing that you can go after this Arkansas State Scarlet team and find a little bit of life here and there.
Is when you look at week number 4, it's not quite the backbreaker if everything goes wrong for your entire semester, but it's definitely that turning point of, are you going to continue finding success, or is it just all downhill running, see you next year kind of situations? For Arkansas State, their previous semester, they had to kind of let this one go in the fall. So the Scarlet squad has really come back in a big way, currently be at 3-0, and they might be looking for a 4th as Heston is down 0-2 in the series. Lash will find it the same way they did in game 1.
That's right. You go backwards. You're just trying to find a touch away from your own goal line there. And, you just play it downfield. You see the last man back's a little bit too far forward, so you try to just take a shot on, and you never know what's going to happen. You'll catch a mistake like that where it goes off the hood of your car. You anticipate a little bit more of a bump there if you're Heston Larks defense to go up above the net, but just weren't that lucky, and now they're really starting to lash out. 2-0 lead here for Arkansas State.
You're either going to start hating or loving Sonic if you're watching Lash this many times. Just hearing the rings go out. But Lash, again, that kind of player feels like they are a cynical style player. And I don't mean that in the negative way, gang. If you weren't here for the first series, well, there was a player named Cynical, and they were doing crazy things to lead their team along. But Lash is exactly that. Pop step, able to retreat. Looking to get this one from the sidewall, and Alex will deny them from having an impactful second touch. But Mr. Simp is right back on it.
Yeah, and Simp has been like the, the finisher, or at least it was in the early stages of this one. Look at that great shot, bar down bins. Oh, it feels so good when you hear it ring and go in. That is a nice shot.
And you saw again, Dreyer Slayer comes into this series trading spaces with Omar. You gotta wonder if that's kind of their key dynamic they like to go for getting their rotation off of their bullpen, if you will, of their players. It's a 3-0 one-way, all traffic heading in a fast lane in favor of the Red Wolves. We're just now 90 seconds into it. The Larks looking to get something going like they did at the beginning of the previous game.
You got to summon what Arkansas State did to you. You have to showcase that you can do the same. And if they're able to come back in this game, that's how I really, truly believe that they have an opportunity to be able to go deep into the series. And it's not just because they won a game. It's because they also have that heart and they're able to answer back and show that case that they have the ability to do it. And so looking for them to be able to try and at least get one quickly here in the next 30 seconds or so and start to build from there. And this is a prime opportunity to at least be able to line up something, but they just can't find it.
Seeing the same rotation that's also happening with the Larks, they want to head down that wall lane to go and get the big boost, but then they end up getting caught up in traffic for that next possession where you already have your third man sweeping up from the midline. That's okay, but you have to create a much faster rotation because you're stalling yourself from taking advantage of the gap you made on the first defender that had to respond. Love the bounce. Can't quite get a second man to get a touch. It was a fantastic opportunity from out of Dreyer Slayer, but Heston Larks cannot capitalize.
And Jack was able to just kind of bend it back in. Be off the corner wall high. It's a little left here at midfield. Lash should be able to get to it next. That's who you want to see leading the charge here for Arkansas State. And their Scarlet team who's been able to really answer anything Heston's looked for. They get a lead, no problem. They have a slow start, we'll expose it. They might have another one here too as both go for it, but a big save there from Alex. You need a little bit of a spark and maybe a big save will do it.
Slowly but surely grinding this clock down. This is a very methodical way from out of the Red Wolves to just keep this one from the Larks and to be able to operate and do anything. Now, we've seen these same kind of timers before. You got to get Dreyer Slayer jumping a little bit sooner. They didn't have any extra boosts. Didn't feel like they can get on top of that ball. Yoki had actually retreated all the way to backline, seeing if they could get their teammate to act forward. That's just going to give more time for the Red Wolves. They're going to send this one to the corner and more, and Dreyer Slayer's got to turn upfield. They do so. They don't have any extra boosts, so this is going to be a fast turn where they do it in stride.
Send it to the box, see what happens, and sure enough, they strong arm it in. Minute 12 left. And Yoki Bay took no time here. Saw what Dreyer Slayer was looking to punch up, and although Arkansas State could have played that better, you credit Heston Larks for recognizing that it was just falling into the box. They punch it in to get their first goal.
You got one. 72 seconds is plenty of time. You got to act fast. You got to see exactly what we did a little bit ago. As soon as you get this ball moving on the wall, you got to be moving forward. Dreyer Slayer going to be right underneath this as it falls off from the sidewall, but it's going to be Lash that picks it up. A very smart move. Take it away from the would-be rotation. Mr. Simp, swing and a miss. They have a chance for Alex to be able to get this one back. Red Wolves are all over this ball. I don't mind that their aggression is still there. They are giving wider lanes for the Larks to be able to move forward up this pitch.
And they're finding little spots where they can expose it. That one was close too. 40 seconds left though. They got to move. Try the pass, but they weren't able to look around and locate a teammate first. And therefore, they weren't able to continue that challenge either. And Lash will try to get out there, but a good cut across here to keep it at midfield. And that'll allow the rest of the team to rotate. Have a better look here for Heston Larks. Now they're back down the field. They have an opening. Alex is mid. They're going to try to get to it. Good demo to freight up to it. And now they had one dive, so they should have the opportunity to try to get the shot on. But Dreyer Slayer not able to quite get around to it. And that shot will be well defended as well. Try to get back to the box, but that one's denied. And it looks like the Red Wolves have done just enough to shut it down.
This one mathematically impossible for it to come on back. And now actually, as Arkansas State, they will be primed for match point and a sweep here through our Division 8 matchup. Key thing to look into, though, that last minute 40 bear finally had some life from out of Heston. That's what we got to see the entirety of this next game, and every game thereafter. It is going to be exhausting for them. But if they can do that, show us exactly what made them kind of even at that end term, Arkansas State will have some competition. But if Arkansas State acts with what they did with Lash early on to get that hat trick, I mean, this one may be all sewn up.
That's right. That's right. It's the problem that's classic of like, can we put together the full 5 minutes? And it's against a team that's might be a little bit more polished here currently in the series. So it makes it a little bit more difficult. They were able to prove that they can sway the momentum. But my stipulation from that last game was, can they bring it all the way back and really start to challenge it? Now, they were able to gain some back. They got 1 goal. I'm not sure it's enough that convinced me quite yet. So they need a big game here, not just a win, but like a convincing one that really allows you to kind of get back to work. They got the 3-0 lead, a couple games ago. They're capable of doing this, but you're right. It's going to be tiring, and it's not just for one game. It's going to be exhausting after you win 1, 2, 3 games, even to bring it to Game 7 if they get that far.
We have the trade-in that we've seen the last few games. Omar is back in with Dreyer Slayer out. Last time that we got Omar into the game for the first time in game number 2, this started as a 3-0 in favor of the Larks. But in that same way, we get Arkansas State being opportunists as always. Lash continues their scoring ways as they challenge the defenders that were in retreat.
You like to see this from Arkansas State, Scarlet. It was just Mr. Semp, and you're like, oh, is Semp the only goal scorer for this team? Can anybody else step up and really start to put away the Larks? And then you see Lash just absolutely being able to take that place, goal, get those goals when they need to, and put them in bunches and become that role as well. So basically anybody on this team can score, and Jack's been setting them up the entire time. So all 3 are certainly clicking. And so now if you're the Larks, it seemed like, check mark 1 was supposed to be, hey, let's score first. That's not there. So now you got a backup plan. Plan B, be able to get another one, and then be able to steal the lead back as quickly as possible.
Got to calm down the comms, too. Look at the double commit. There as a free net. Yoki is on an island by themselves. They will get Omar to fill the gap, just as both they and I believe that was Alex, for him to kind of rotate up. And continuously, every single ball has 2 players. They're both on that sidewall. You're seeing teammates bump into one another. Omar, luckily, is the one that's interior of the post. You can see the value of that next position. But Heston is panicking. You're getting Omar with a flick, forcing the same thing from out of the Red Wolves. Everyone's in an awkward spot, looking into their net. Unfortunately, Omar couldn't take advantage of that pass. That's a big bump. They take that boost away from him as Lash moves upfield. And it's such odd and unequal spots for both these teams.
It looks like everybody individually for Heston Larks JV are having good ideas together, but separately rather. But then when you get together and think of the team game as a whole, it's not making much sense. You got to be able to kind of get back positionally. And to your point, calm down the comms, because it has not been as clean as they would like. But take your wins where they are. You're only down 1 right now, but look out. Almost made it 2 off of that mistake as well. And they could use some time to really regroup here. We'll see what Omar does without boost. It looks like Yogi was a little bit too far ahead. Yoki wasn't able to hold them off. Jack the Ripper on the goal column this time. And the Red Wolves up 2-0.
Ripping off a quick shot as this one was laid up. A nice just dive over the arc. Finally, it felt like Arkansas State was eventually going to be able to capitalize on the Larks' breakdown on defense. And they sent 2 players every single time on some of these touches. They were still able to get just enough to stay safe and healthy. But finally, everything just ends up lurking its way in. Arkansas State, midway mark approaching here for game number 4, looking for a sweep. Lash will deny the first one. It's a putback shot. Yoki will split the difference.
Great job. And you get Omar involved as well. Look as he's diving into the box first to make Arkansas State force them up in that moment and get that touch. You said forcing the defense into mistakes is a way that you can approach this. Heston and Larks took that to heart. Right now as the JV team is able to keep them close. Still within 1. Off the kickoff, trying to do more, but the Red Wolves right back on it here as they'll punch it in.
Oh, this is not who you want to see diving at your net, especially with this ball going indefensible to the backboard. Yoki's a step late, and that means they cannot get that touch. Lash sure can, tracking it the entire way. That initial kickoff was a little bit wild. I thought we had some kind of big blocker forward check man that was trying to just pin someone to the wall. And the Heston Larks then had to reel on back as the Red Wolves came prowling up.
That one was a confidence killer as well, Monkey. You know, you finally got one back for Heston Larks, JB. And you're finally starting to become relevant again in the series, and then you see them go up, and you're like, uh-oh. Got to be able to challenge that one earlier. But too little too late, as Captain Hindsight shows his head in a nasty way here for Heston Larks as they now need to find answers. But right now, they're struggling even trying to find the ball here, but everybody committed here. Jack needs to get across and kill time for his team. It's right back to middle. Awkward kind of location to be in, but able to get it out to the corner and work it away from the Larks as much as they can. Finally, the rest of the team rotates back. It was scary, but they got there.
90 seconds left to go. Arkansas State, they've done everything necessary. They just got to stay consistent. Heston Larks, they've got to pull up. They'll be able to arrive into this series. Omar will turn around. Definitely been an X factor or so through the 2 games that they've been available to play. Minute 15, that's a dagger dive. It's defended well. Mr. Semp, the scoring has changed over to Lash, and Mr. Semp has definitely shown up to shore up that back line.
And Yoki gets it stolen off the hood of their car as well. But it is finally jumped back into the play. It's Mr. Semp now. Up high it goes, though. Opportunity. No touch there, though. Lark tries to follow it up, but it's punched past them as well. It looked like a free net, but Alex able to rotate it. Now they're going to try to beat the third man, too, as Arkansas State got a little ahead of themselves in that moment. Last thing you want to do is give up a freebie here. As they do settle it in. 35 seconds left. They a much-needed push here. They do get it past last man somehow. The Larks still alive.
Arkansas State's discipline and went a little bit sideways. They were trying for boost. They thought their front man had it, and Mr. Semp was caught sleeping at the wheel. 33 seconds. Larks may have been given a gift, a chance. Arkansas State needs to close this gap, not allow an open door to be found by the Larks.
Yeah, they were given a key, but the door is still locked at the moment for the time being. They just got to find a way to be able to utilize it correctly. This opportunity presents itself. They miss first. Down to 15 seconds left. The pinch will play it in here for Alex. Semp tries to swing it around and kill more time and does. Puts it on target here is Yoki. Now having to swing it around, but now the Red Wolves still trying to kill this one. And time will run thin. And Arkansas State will complete the sweep here over Heston Larks with a 3-2 win in game number 4.
They will remain undefeated, going 4-0 in Division 8 play. Arkansas State Scarlet definitely looks like a very well put together squad. The Larks out of Heston, got to see some life from them every now and then. It felt like that there was definitely a design in mind. And with the way that they're trading out their personnel, Bear, it feels like they're still trying to feel out their own identity. Getting Omar, getting Dreyer Slayer, seeing how they want to rotate. There was definitely some odds and evens and some pros and cons the way they put that together. But because there was that constant change, you saw the communication definitely breaking down. And these, they're week number 4. They have one of those games that they still have to reschedule. Still some chance to find some life later in the spring.
Yeah, it almost seems like they're kind of building up. They will have their chance in the spring, but it does feel like they're kind of building up for the fall as well. In that way, because when you're testing out rosters, really just looking to see what can work in the future, but also gives you more of that playing time as well, especially on stream. If that's something that you haven't done pretty frequently, it helps you out a ton because you know that pressure is kind of on as far as like, how will everybody see how I play? And that does kind of affect things. And you get to see that from all 4 of your players. So depending on like who actually plays well during this semester could look at futures and say, hey, that's the adjustment that we need to really build from there. They still have that shot in the spring, but again, fall is where I look to really see the Heston Larks start to make moves here in the NECC.
Well, we've got one more match left for the evening, and it's a battle of the Northeast. We've got the Worcester Polytechnic Goats, the WPI gang, facing off against Southern New Hampshire University with the Penmen coming to play. It's another one of those matches where teams got to find their first or maybe stay undefeated. You guys can stick around with NECC and more Rocket League right after this.
that cuts quite like a memory, especially one that you're trying to forget. But I can't find the energy to rewind and reset. I know you don't wanna be used, but you use me to build up. You build up to break me down. How does it feel? How does it feel to knock me around? I won't make a sound. I won't make a sound until I hit the ground. I won't make a sound. So don't shoot me down. Alright, we're not broken. We're just getting off the Sometimes I lack the bravery, 'cause I know I fear the end. One day we'll see a victory. Carry on until the sun will set. To break me down. How does it feel? How does it feel to
It's the final match of the evening here with NECC. Rocket League has been hitting it hard in week number 4, that midway mark of the spring semester. I know it doesn't feel like the spring yet because it's been so cold, but the competition tonight has been red hot. I'm Hail Monkey Man in the booth alongside Bear Light for the final time tonight. And Bear, it is our Division 4 matchup, an undefeated WPI in a battle for the Northeast with Southern New Hampshire University.
That's right. Northeast A is where we go here for the Div 4 action here. So WPI Goats facing off with the SNHU Yellow, two teams that I know pretty well here. So we'll see what the starting rosters are. For SNHU, we've got Cole Chandler, Eagle, and Arctic Wolf to be the starting 3. WPI, it'll be Sly, Jabata, and Penguin getting the calls here. I have not seen Jabata play before. I've seen Striker in their play. Striker not here tonight. Striker is actually a very dynamic player, so I'm very willing to see what Jabata is all about, whether they bring that same energy, whether it's a substitution. Either way, it should be a fun one here on the pitch.
For SNHU, their 2 losses at 1 and 2 have been against the 2nd and 3rd place team that are right behind WPI, as WPI is undefeated at that 3-0 mark. So the 2nd place team being beaten by WPI. So they've made sure to really kind of set the tone across the entirety of this Northeast A division. Gonna find out if that continues on as Worcester Polytechnic Institute. It's the right way to say it, by the way. If you see WOR Cester, it's Worcester. Locals, they said that was right. SNHU, Penman, can they bring down the Goats?
Jabata is already starting to make a little bit of an impression here early, as they got the first touch. Is Soccer Penguin on it too? Try to swing it around. There's Sly trying to get it to Jabata as well. Off the crossbar is close, but they will get the first one on the board. The Goats out to a strong start.
This tackle. Sly had to give it over to Jabata, and Jabata was bumped. Was able to maintain their flip, boosted through the bump, and then quickly was able to flip down to get to that ball. What a recovery. What a way for the Ghosts to strike first.
The Jabata. Off the side wall it goes. This one will be Eagle playing it right into the box, but Sly on it here. Finds a good pass play there, but it's just out of the reach of Soccer Penguin. As he'll go all the way up to the ceiling there in the corner, and Cole Chandler was able to turn it away for a second. Jabata on it too, but flipped right out from Eagle. And you see them kind of battle in this corner. Not much progress made either way. By the time Sly is able to handle it and push it right back down the pitch, nobody from the Goat side was able to get to it here either. Jabata will just pick up the 100, find a passing play towards middle. Soccer looking back to Jabata. He is running out of boost here. Sly opportunity. He tried to get to it as well, but that one punched out by SNHU, and a stalemate here in the last minute or so.
It's a good first strike, and then ever since then, for about a minute approaching, it's been a lot of lean by WPI, but SNHU hasn't bent again, at least too prolifically. This is a team that upgraded from Division 6 in the fall to Division 4 now here into the spring semester. A lot of challenges in their way as they came in 3rd place into that playoff round. WPI, they went to that 3rd place match, decided not to play it out, had a tough Game 7 loss. It looks like they've been putting a lot of work in to stay undefeated up to this mark, and they're keeping the Penmen back.
Keeping the Penmen pinned. Still not able to get out here. Soccer Penguin's still there. Cole try to swing it around him. Finally, they'll be able to have at least a little bit of breathing room as they get it out to midfield, but ran out of boost in the process. And I mean, it takes no time for WPI to be all over everything. It's not really letting the Penmen do much in all these moments. Again, another great passing play, but that shot going to be handled by SNHU. Soccer Penguin, it looked like he had a chance to take a shot on, but unfortunately did not get all of it. And now still trying to find passing. We've spent a majority of this time on the SNHU yellow side for majority of this game here, Monkey.
Yeah, we've been dug in deep. There's a goat-shaped trench, and they have been putting hoofs into it to deny the Penmen from really getting out. Feels like this one's going to be going through as well, as they've cleared the back line as 2 up at 220 for the Goats. Sly on this pickup, and I mean, it was free as all that as they had to bully the last man away.
Worcester Poly looking sharp. Definitely the better of the two teams when it comes to the first little bit. No surprise here, coming in with a 3-0 record here. SNHU have something to prove at 1-2. Just haven't been able to find their way, not yet. As again, another ball midfield, they're just not able to kind of latch on to. So it seems like because they've been pinned, it's been frustrating them a little bit, and they haven't been able to find the looks that they're looking for. And continue to try to play from behind, play reactionary instead of proactively. It's certainly catching up to them here.
Finding a couple thin moments for SNHU to start getting upfield, and that's going to be a freebie. Sly will have just enough positioning and boost. Flip right back over to it, but look at the confidence. The Goats move right back up this pitch. SNHU has had a lot of speed differential work against them, as Worcester just feels like they continue to just run undeterred and unperturbed through many of these lanes. Sly on a double clutch up possession, trying to be able to move it around one man, and Sucker Penguin will buy his teammates some time, a lot of time. In fact, he may have one last touch for the shot. Third man does show up.
And although it's back in this SNHU side, I still like that I've seen the first couple of examples of how they play at the midfield and able to at least take a little bit of control when they're there. Boom, what a save.
Wow.
Somehow got across. And now they have two members of the team trying to dribble it down the pitch. It's left there and open, but Sly able to get to that one as well. Bit of miscoordination there, but SNHU had a good chance.
That back corner was under threat as WPI felt like they were actually in the own goal that one. I'm not taking advantage of the idea that opposite corner zone was going to be free, but that's when you're just kind of blind to the rotation, and they had to do it off of instinct. SNHU yellow. Still scoreless. We have not had a shutout so far tonight, at least onto these games, late term. 25 seconds left, and it feels like WPI might be posting up the first one.
Yeah, just coasting it out, essentially. SNHU, you to be able to find something. It does start with that midfield because they were trapped for an extended period of time. Able to find one here is Cole, get them on the board. 9 seconds left if you're going to give yourself a chance. Just that much time.
Final touch here went off of Jabata, and just a tough read for Soccer Penguin. That bouncer is just so deceptive there. A bouncing ball and an open net, I never want to have to deal with either.
Hardest shot in Rocket League, they say.
Uh-oh.
This one's free. Almost an opportunity it was, but it was shut down here. Still in the air temporarily. Sly able to get to this one, punch it all the way out. And they'll try to bank it off the back wall to create something, but nothing doing. In fact, it'll be one on the road for WPI and the Goats, proving why they might be the Goats here in Division 4.
Slide just off the crossbar, and a good finisher here for Worcester Polytechnic Institute. Game number 1. Never felt like there was much threat out of SNHU. We're going to hope that game number 2 has a lot more pace, a lot more volume of attack and effort, because I mean, you look at the overall shot column, 10 to the 4 from out of SNHU. Much of that came late, but much of their positioning was in that latter third with feet on the goal line. And Bear just feels like WPI came out of the gate with all their cylinders firing.
Yeah, they certainly were. It's like one of those situations, they're like one of the characters with like a silence ability, where it's, you know, they were able to do the things that they wanted to do, but like literally with the suffocating way that they trap the game and then push it back in midfield just constantly, you aren't able to use your abilities on the other side. SNHU was silenced. They weren't able to pull out the big guns. So a little bit later, they were able to take a couple shots, had some opportunities, and weren't able to capitalize on a mistake from WPI. So those are things that are at least positives, but overall, yes, WPI was a threat constantly throughout that game number 1, and I don't think that's going anywhere throughout the rest of the series. You're going to have to find some way to combat that if you're SNHU.
If I remember correctly from looking at their records prior to this series, I believe that WPI is 13-2. They have only dropped a couple of games through their 3 matches thus far, and that is really good efficiency, especially through and now into week number 4, going up into this Penman squad, who I think that they've gone 7-10, so they've gone fairly decently deep into multiple of their series. Just got to see what comes out the other side this time around. So we'll go into it. Can SNHU find a pace and a lockstep together that works out? Not when Jabata's landing them like this. My goodness, up and down the pitch.
That was so great. Yeah, I mean, it happened so quickly, too, and they brought it back down and caught it on the hood of their car and then went up and then had the presence of mind to dip out in time. When it was just about to go down below the bar, the rest of the team communicated and said, you don't even need an extra touch. Let it fall, 1-0 Goats.
PI already up that early on, really continues the tone that's been set. Now it's about setting a trend. Good dig out from Chandler. And if you're SNHU, there's no panic time right now, but you have to start getting into the WPI grill. If they start acting freely, this game is going to get out of sorts. Double commit. This is where the punishment should come through. Slizy on the one back. Chandler's got to find some decent space.
And finds Sly instead. Already on it, Savage Slasher. Try to start to contribute here to get it out of the zone. That's a good find as far as a teammate goes to try to get it out. But again, Sly already up. We'll use back wall. This one waterfall down. He was trying to use the side of his car to find Jabata. Nicole Chandler does get a good touch. Sly right back, and look how quickly he was. Off the post, though. Looked so strong, and it was. And now the follow-up is available. All that starts with Sly and his midfield presence to make it 2-0.
Sly Cam's going to give me whiplash on this effort. You had a great tackle there by Soccer, Sly on that follow, and then Jabata just knowing that eventually a shot has got to make a gap, and they do. Saw it happen, and I felt like Sly was just wronged in that moment. Definitely came out with that second goal eventually. Oh, big fake. Sly, can they be able to take advantage? They absolutely do. They'll get theirs.
Yeah, right place, right time. Savage just panicked a little bit. You know, you hear those wheels coming at you as far as your opponent goes, and you thought you had a teammate there in the corner too. I think they were trying to direct it to you, but weren't able to find them. In fact, found the Goats instead. WPI now seem to be in the driver's seat. And no answer has been had yet, at least not for the Penmen. Could this be the opportunity? That is, what a save! They do finally slash through. A Savage save, but they're not able to break through and get it out. A one goal here on the board here for SHU.
The fact that Jabata got that is actually just bananas. Fading into your net, balls coming through, you're able to cycle just far enough back to deny it. Great follow by SNHU and by SNHU to get this defensive stop. They absolutely needed not just that previous, but that touch as well. Sly's been given a lot of space to now start working some of this clock. The WPI is finding crazy ways offensively and defensively to show up.
Jabata Banana is better than Chiquita Bananas, by the way. I've heard.
Shout out.
Shout out. That's Cole Chandler. Top of the box, read by Jabata. That's a nice job from SHU to try to keep some pressure on. They'll go well hot. Hits the ceiling. And Soccer Penguin was in control. Kind of backed off of that one when he realized that SNHU was in the area. I thought they could have played that a little bit further in, but it won't matter much as Sly gets back to it anyways and got that flip reset somehow. And keep things going, keep it pumping, keep the gas pedal on that floor here for the Goats. They have been nothing but effective, and it continues to show as we tick down to about halfway through this game number 2. Great save from Soccer Penguin. SNHU had the opportunity, but third man back is going to stay put as they should.
Seeing a lot more life out of SNHU, but that is just comparative to what we saw in game number 1. Still hasn't been consistent enough for this to really start trending in the right direction for the Penmen. Now they have been occupying more blue territory. Double commit from out of Jabata, and Soccer Penguin should have someone diving through. You do get that in the form, I believe, of Savage Slasher. Another chance, and it's been more one-touch offenses. They're not exactly passing as much as they're just kind of corralling it from the perimeter and hoping zone play eventually gets enough double commits from out of the Goats to be punishable. Minute 45 right now. Eagle trying to dodge a demo from Sly. WPI has just been consistent enough. Sly will leave it behind just as I make that remark.
That loud shot on for SNHU. I want to float back, but Eagle, right place, right time. Jabata to follow that one as well. Didn't get much on it, so that allowed a shot the other way, trying to catch them sleeping, but Sly said no chance. He's right back to it as well, as he'll be off the side wall. Sly up in a hurry, had an opportunity. In fact, Jabata was able to propel it forward even quicker, but it was off the mark, as it would have been fielded anyways. So I like that attempt at a redirect, and that's a good read too here from Jabata. But things have been opening up here for SNHU. It almost feels like it's just a matter of time.
I would say that with only the most minor amount of confidence, because the eventuality seems like it is not just happening for SNHU. They definitely are in a nice position. They've been here for a while, and maybe this one right there, as it does eventually pick up. You know, Bear, I'm gonna just start not doubting you, because I was like, you know what, it hasn't happened. When's it gonna happen? Well, guess what, Monkey Man, it's just happening now.
Yeah, and it wasn't like the most convincing, but it was like, hey, they're making steps in the right direction. So I thought it was worthy of a look there and see if they can't at least sneak a little bit closer. Because you're right, the evidence wasn't always there, but sometimes you just have to trust the gut. And in that situation, it happened to pay off, but for how much longer here, we'll have to see.
One of those where it's like the decision making was with the heart, and then it eventually was real with the brain. So all of that trekking forward, Penmen have given themselves a chance to be in this series. Already had one sweep in our previous Division 8 matchup. SNHU does not want to be at the other end of a broom. WPI, can they pin this one? Can't quite do it at the crossbar. We got 10 seconds up.
Yeah, and they got to move. Eagles got the chance. Great job. And a blocker out in front, but they avoid it nicely, and Soccer's able to play it out in the corner. Here is Fly will now take control, just trying to kill it to the grounds. It is temporarily lofted here in the meantime, but Sly will kill it, and WPI go. And so we'll go up 2-0 in the series as they hold off the breaking through SNHU Yellow. We showed a lot more promise in this one, but just not enough this time around.
Didn't WPI get 3 goals in the previous game as well?
They sure did.
Pretty sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So far, WPI consistent with their offense. 13 shots to just a 5 out of SNHU, but they come away with a couple. They've got 8 saves to their mark, and again, they're getting more saves than they have shots. That's not where you want to be when it comes to Rocket League. Everyone says defense wins championship. You have to have an observant and existent offense to also be threatening against your opponent. Now, defenses kind of go crazy at the pro level in Rocket League, so that is something that you can still stand upon. But for SNHU, they definitely had more sights and more chances that we could be illuminated with in that second game. Game number 3, if they are continuing to build upon what they've done the last 2, Bear, should have SNHU actually challenging out against WPI, but I wonder if WPI kind of let loose the reins a little bit mid-term of that game.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting debate. From what I've seen so far, if I were to transition my heart into my brain at this point in time, would be that I think that SNHU has close games from here on out, but I'm not convinced yet that they're going to be able to win a game. I think WPI has been that effective in the offense, been able to trap them and get in their heads, and I haven't seen an adjustment, and it almost feels like if after 2 games you haven't quite figured it out, it's going to be a long shot, but you just got to stay opportunistic if you're SNHU and see where you can punch, and if you're going to get opportunities, you have to finish every single one of them with how consistent WPI has been.
You know, if my heart transitions to my brain, I wonder if cholesterol affects my thoughts. Probably.
Like something like, man. Yeah, that's what they say.
Cheerios make you think good? News at 11. Game number 3. SNHU needs a game to not be on sweep alert. WPI goes trying to have themselves a short night, and they're already prepped for the attack, especially with Sly looking for that 50-50.
And I brain what he's trying to do right now, aka heart. Eagles still gonna drop down trying to get that block. Making terrible jokes as the night continues. That one might get a good opportunity. Good redirect. Sly's able to find it. And Jabata tries to play high as well. Almost like a set in volleyball, waiting for the striker to come through and get the touch. They'll be cleared out the length of the pitch, and Sly back to it, just out of his reach as well. Off the corner, they'll try and swing it right back in as both teams look to try to calm themselves down right now. Seems a bit chaotic. That's a bounce or 2. But WPI's defense is Sly. We'll get to it.
Looks like the entire lobby all said freestyle competition and just started going for it. This is like when one of the guys disconnects and everyone just decides, hey, want to try and do weird stuff. And it's been happening. Everyone's been kind of dividing neutral space. Striker, by the way, has been, I think their name was called. Who did they replace to come in? Because they were not initially in the lobby, were they?
Yeah, that's correct.
It was Soccer Penguin.
It was Soccer Penguin, and they were they jumped in, and you know, Striker was you know, all things considered, either last semester or a couple semesters ago, one of the leaders of the team that made a lot of big plays, defensively and offensively. So maybe they were looking to get a little bit of experience from the other soccer penguin first. And maybe that one was a little bit too close for comfort, or vice versa, because Jabata's looked incredibly strong too. So really, I think they're just trying to give some love to all 4 players, if I had to guess.
Depth on the roster, using your bullpen of your personnel and players. Why not? Your collegiate program. See what they got out there. We're not quite at national championships yet, so use it while you got it. Make sure you don't lose those players that are trying to give time to the obvious collegiate name. 3:03 on the clock. WPI has the only goal right now. SNHU have been making further field trips upfield. This has been some loose ball play as they let some of these possessions really go forward. Look at the double commit. That is a triple commit. This should be a goal very quickly, but unfortunately, Savage Slasher couldn't connect.
Sometimes you just rush it when you see too much of an opportunity, and that's what I was mentioning. If you have any kind of opportunity, if you wanted the chance against WPI, got to be able to finish it. And it looks like, those are one of the examples of why I'm currently a doubter for SNHU. That being said, they're still only down 1, so they still have opportunity as long as WPI is not just closing the door on every single sequence that we've seen so far. Jabata tries to swing in too and gather that one too, but still want to be able to find something if you're SNHU. The Pinmen haven't been able to find much.
2 minutes will be approaching, and SNHU needs to find a lot. As they so far, oh my goodness, have been under duress and fire from Worcester Polytechnic Institute. Still, Ghosts have not built upon their lead. Definitely haven't lost it, as the Penmen continue to flounder around some of these possessions. Jabata gets bumped. Sly has a soft give-and-go touch. And you can tell the comms are alight with the Goats trying to get creative.
Finding unique ways has been relatively tough. Wouldn't necessarily call a freestyle competition very unique, or at least creative in an efficient way, at least. But it still feels like we have some of that disconnect between just the fundamentals, which might actually help one team or another. SNHU, they maybe calm things down. Maybe they'll be the team with the voice of reason and be able to be the team that can find a little bit of traction.
Big booming clear from out of Chandler. To be able to take advantage of that, maybe a zone play. SNHU, whenever you dump and chase, I think you say chip and chase, Bear. You're hoping that you can read that next touch from your opponent because they should be able to find it before you as you come after it. But that no man's land positioning has a lot more breadth to the pitch. Big bump, trying to take him out as Jabata also came in from the opposite door. You got Sly in the back line, and Jabata gonna be quite in position because he's got, I believe that was Striker right there. So far it is still just a 1-goal game. This game has been screaming by. 30 seconds to go. SNHU technically still in it, but they gotta get upfield.
You have to be able to go north-south. And with the demo, I think it was a double demo, so that should at least open the door slightly. Again, just a bit of a mishap here from SNHU. Both of these teams are usually way cleaner than this. I've seen it firsthand. And so just need to be able to find something. It's not going to be there. In fact, WPI had an opportunity to just end it here, but it's going to be kept alive. 2 seconds left. Needs something, won't find it. And WPI actually just keeps it alive. It looks like they're just having some fun with it. Knew that they're going to be able to close out. And the Goats will be up to match point already after 3 played.
Trying to turn this game 4 right around. And if you really look at what we're seeing, I mean, only 3 shots accumulated and only 5 necessary for the Goats to get the job done. The main man Striker coming in may have been the sub to this, but talking about leadership, talking about a squad that kind of knows their identity. I mean, they didn't really let SNHU participate. You get Eagle and Slasher, both a double-digit score, and I know the scoreboard isn't exactly forgiving or, telling all the time, but when one guy's main score comes from their 3 saves, I mean, SNHU just kind of got monkey in the middle all the way around the pitch.
Yeah, somehow, it seems almost like the closest or strongest effort from SNHU if you look at the scoreboard. I don't think it was. I really don't think it was. And in fact, I think it might have been one of their least impressive performances. It's hard to say because game 1 was a little bit tough for them too. but I don't know. I don't necessarily think they took a step forward. I still think, the chances were not there, and WPI actually missed a lot of their own. So
Yeah.
I think they're heading in the wrong direction. I think really they need to find a spark of life. I just don't know who they get it from right now, especially when WPI has 4 incredibly strong players, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is a deep roster. That's exactly what you want to see. If you're going to be trading out personnel and you're like, okay, well, we're going to be successful no matter what we do, then look, you've won. And so 3-0 right now on the series, 3-0 in terms of record play through 3 weeks. Will WPI go perfect tonight against SNHU? SNHU has to find a quick strike. They want to get with Chandler, and some of these 50-50s definitely going to come up strong. Eagle with the setup. Do they have someone to follow? Can't quite get there.
It was close. Now you have Eagle. They rotate behind him, maybe shadow a little bit, as Striker will direct it forward and work from there, but it's cool. We'll take advantage of the goats kind of tripping over one another. This one is available. The shot taken, but it's going to be defended by Sly way before it gets to the goal mount. And Jabata wanted to play up where Savage Slasher was to try and get that 50-50. And just play it towards the box here as Sly will wait for this one too. And Eagle plays past it though. It was a little bit of an awkward exchange. We'll allow SNHU to rotate around though as WPI goes open the door and left them with a little bit of space of their own. Once again, it seems like every time we see SNHU kind of inch forward there, WPI is just easily able to get to it and get touches.
A lot of what they're doing is a lot of free space. Not too much is kind of intricate and meticulous to the way that any kind of the passes are happening. They're dropping it into a zone. As long as you can play a lot of kind of basically open territory play, then you're not really too out of sorts. And once you have to read an individual player, play much more onto man, things become a lot harder. Okay? You and I have seen that across several different games and sports individually. That one comes off of a bonkers bounce, ends up being an inadvertent pinball situation. SNHU looking at a chance. Nice flip reset from out of Sly. Still no score yet.
Cole Chandler with great positioning there on the back wall. That's one of the things SNHU has done very well, as they were also looking to transition that with a great counterattack, but Sly is showing up in multitude of different ways, showcasing his mechanics on the offensive side and then returning with a big save of his own. Almost, he does get that extra touch. It's there and available, but Cole is able to swing it just in time to get it out of the zone.
That was actually a crazy half flip to be able to get it cleared out, because anyone from WPI could have probably come in for that score, and they just able to flip it away, make sure that they're safe for now. Still locked in at a donut each. Sly wants the double tap. Denied by Savage. Old Chandler take up a third man position as Eagle gets a ceiling reset. Looking for the musty. Are we going to clip this? No. It ends up outside and away. Savage Slasher trying to get right back into the works. Eagle had to retreat all the way to his own back corner. Flip reset for Sly. They don't gain any distance.
In all honesty, I think that if that was a goal for Eagle, if he's able to showcase those mechanics and land that one too and get the lead, the first lead of the series for SNHU, that might have been able to spark something. That's maybe what they needed. So I don't hate that he went for it. I know it's probably a long shot in these moments, but at the same time, if you make a big play like that, you could probably get things going. But instead, now they find themselves trapped again. It's game one all over again.
And at 45, looking for OT. Three commit from out of the penmen. Striker will drop it into the corner zone for Jabata, but Jabata will vacate. Cole Chandler. Is it going to be another attempt at trying to get something fancy here from SNHU? Eagle just does it easy. They've got Savage up on the near side post. This is going to be a pass. He says, go to that back box, man. Jabata will just beat it over the last one. He gets it on a musty, huge save. Necessary for Eagle to gather up.
You can tell Eagle's trying to lead this team, and I love it. You need that little bit of leadership and really trying to find, these plays that are big. That was a very tough save in that situation as well. WPI, speaking of tough, that would have been a bad one too, but this is going to be over them. Nobody on the back wall to guard, but Sly made a great read as that one came back down to earth. And now he's pushing it past. An opportunity to get that touch. Tries to just direct it down to a teammate and almost pinballed it off to put that one in.
They had called Jabata's number. They said, pre-jump this one, dude. I'm going to drop it onto the floor. Nearly had it. Sly with a pickup. They're doing it again. They team pinch. They will combine powers. They will wonder twin this ball all the way upfield. WPI is getting creative with moving this ball around. SNHU got to take advantage of the moment. No one has scored as of yet. Can they get the bump on the goalie? Striker stands tall.
Yeah, there was Eagle out in front, number 1, to be able to play that one in, and then didn't get complacent, went for bumps. Got one demo, almost had the extra bump to free that up as well, and now you have one back. A 2v1 situation. Cole wants to leave it. Crafty touch, almost a little bit too much as Savage wasn't ready for it. And this one will fly back, be careful. That one was almost directed on target here for the Goats. And now Cole Chandler, shot taken, what a save! Oh my, SNHU had a chance to get a 0-second goal. It's still not down, finally touches. Overtime in game number 4.
Will it be a 4-0 sweep, or does SNHU find some life? WPI, they've been playing with their food. It's time to actually get your nutrients if you ever want dessert. Striker has Slide off to his left. It's the men in green trying to find this one through what has been a very lean offensive game. The follow, the touch up. They've got a back door. Chandler, it's going to waterfall down. Big demo. The defense out of Worcester will survive for now.
WPI is risky, man. It almost looks like they're like, hey, he doesn't hit that, and then he's going to swing around when it could be an obvious shot. You're right this time, but it might come back to haunt them if they play this loosely. We'll have to see. That's a good passing play, too. But the shot, not a whole lot of velocity on it. So Eagle will have to pick it back up from there. Tries to get that touch to center as well, and it was a good one. But they were still there as the Goats continue to try and swing it out. And that one, not sure what happened, but it bounced right back into the zone of SNHU.
1 minute's already elapsed. You have 2 Goat defenders waiting out the next approach from out of the penmen. Cole Chandler and company. This is looking a lot more successful in terms of just going for it. They're leaving nothing to question, that they're trying everything in the kitchen sink. Sly will stall this one. Doesn't get a flip reset and leaves it queued up for Eagle. We got a game 5 coming up.
And Sly was just waiting, and then didn't get that flip. You're right. And there was no support behind you as well. Sometimes you do that if you just want to kind of kill some time, but credit SNHU for being able to recognize that nobody was coming up. Nobody's going to help you. So we'll help ourselves with a game win, a 1-0 win in overtime. I said they needed a convincing win. Listen, it was a high-pressure situation, and the fact that SNHU Yellow was able to come out with this one, all right, that's a step in the right direction. We'll see what they get in Game 5.
Convince me, Bear. SNHU obviously got this one, that minute plus, into OT. Bit of a overt ego fumble by Sly, and Eagle's like, you know what? I couldn't get my clip earlier. Let me just take this off you and get a game. How much of this is WPI just not sealing the deal and getting the series done versus SNHU now is really showing up because they stopped everything that was thrown at them into that regulation. So it's not, and WPI felt like they were going for maybe overt mechanical shots. Do they feel like maybe they're, I'm not going to call it arrogance, but like, are they definitely kind of doing too much, whereas they could more fundamentally get this one done?
Short answer, yes, they are doing a little bit too much. But the long answer, and to answer your question previously, I think it's about 50-50, honestly. And it's not a cop-out because there are certainly chances both ways where both of these teams could win. So there's no way that I will discredit SNHU because they played a much better game there. They forced 5 or 6 saves and really strong ones from WPI Goats. That's not something that's happened throughout the rest of the series. Yet again, is that enough? Because if WPI, if they're not, kind of sleeping on some opportunities, then for sure they're going to be able to find ways, and they should be able to close out on paper. So I don't want to take out what SNHU was able to accomplish in that last game. I thought they just took steps in the right direction, but WPI should be able to close out in the next couple games.
I mean, the good news, regardless, because it's sports, because it's games, and because it's everything that's still being competed for. If your opponent decides to not keep themselves mentally disciplined and strong, take advantage of it. SNHU, they do so into that overtime in that previous game. So this series does continue. Striker looking for a back pass. Jabata fakes him out as Striker comes right back into the rotation. Now Jabata has to make the craziest turn, trying to go from underneath the ball and around to wrap around skis and set it up. Instead, it ends up with 2 Goats players that have to escape. We go the first 60 seconds scoreless again.
Slay off the front of the car. maybe upset about what happened last game. But now you've got the answer. SNHU is going to take the lead early in this one off the hood of Eagle.
Ain't playing. If you're going to leave these loose ball moments, they're going to punish you. And Eagle has been looking for this. They did it last time in overtime, and they do it again. The GOATs have lost a lot of their fundamental discipline. When they go for that 1-2 combo, you're consistently seeing a lot of double commits. And they're not sealing it up with a third man to cover their butts whenever they go for some of those strikes. So there's no safety net. They're all in. I like the ideas and the confidence, but SNHU is about to defeat them fundamentally if this continues.
Exactly. Again, just calm it down. Back to fundamentals. Might help you out, especially when you recognize in game number 2 or 3 actually, when it started becoming like that battle of, you know, mechanics.
Freestyle?
Yeah, exactly. The battle of I can show off and do what I need to. Just simplify your gameplay, because if the GOATs don't recognize that and pick up on that, and they still feel a little bit confident, too confident, then maybe you can get away with it. Still a lot of time though left on this game, so if WPI, if they're able to get back to their games that we saw in the first couple, they should be fine.
Ooh, especially when Sly is finally hitting them like this. SNHU sees themselves surrendered back to the wall. Can't quite get the read as Savage, and Sly is just going to take what's dropping. And that is a free loose ball opportunity.
One that he's going to finish every time, too. So you're right. Left there. Off the kickoff, though. Other opportunity, and they are able to swing it. So it seems like WPI is working pretty hard for theirs. SNHU, the last couple have been pretty easy. That's just a clinical kickoff win and a good follow-up.
That can happen a lot, especially from the kickoff, going to a 2-2, and then if the second man does not read it, they're trailing very close behind their initial striker, then things get a little bit wink-wonk. So, Sly is going to put this one upwards. Striker retreats. You're going to have Jabata playing as support to this as they rotate upwards. It's exactly what we've seen a lot, especially ever since that we've gone into this rotation and bringing Striker onto the pitch. Nice pickup, Jabata back to Sly, but you're not seeing SNHU surrender so much space anymore. They're sending the second man almost immediately from the first touch out of the GOATs.
Showing it's making it a little bit more difficult for them to kind of judge exactly where they're going to be and take it from there. This one's going to be available. Sly was there at an opportunity. Jabata wants to keep this alive here and in the zone of the pinman. They did a great job of that earlier in the series, but look as Eagle stepping up and just making himself large there at the midfield line. Savage still on it too. Couple of touches waiting for them. Finally, Striker able to relieve a little bit of the pressure. Sly right back on into it as well. Might be the first time that I was saying how, you know, SHU has been the better looking team, but doesn't matter here. Jabata have the double touch and flip reset in hand. Just that close, but not able to finish. Still in the zone though, and they miss. Will the second man come through? They do, but it's just a little bit wide of the target. Follow-up is going to be saved as well.
Defense is showing up. SNHU has proven that they are definitely in this series and not just a byproduct of the GOATs messing around. They have denied them at the goal line when the GOATs are trying to finally tie this game, and when SNHU absolutely is just going to keep them at arm's reach. This is going to be a frustration point for Worcester Polytechnic. Jabata is racing backwards. Sly will have some boost, but they're shutting them down. It has been recognition by the pinmen that the job isn't quite over. They didn't get swept. They took it in overtime. And with a minute left to go, they've got a lead in regulation to continue to keep WPI at distance.
Sly is trying it all. Great job to carry that one and try to find a teammate, but the teammate not quite ready, at least not yet. To flip into that one too. The teammate was not beating him, and neither was Sly. That's a great touch. What a shot, what a save. Holy cow, Cole Chandler read that to perfection. Oh. That one off the crossbar as well, rung out, but no goal to show for it.
Cole Chandler does one of those moments where you might be turned into a backboard and they may score on you. They're trying to find one more. Have to read two separate targets. Eagle waits for the neutral position in the middle. 10 seconds left. Can they keep the GOATs on the pitch? GOATs want to say goodnight. SNHU is staying in the fight. They're going to be denying Savage. They must work into more orange grasses. This is going to be upwards, but Eagle is sending it down. SNHU Another 1-goal win. Game 6. Do you believe?
They're heating it up. They're hitting it up. They were outshot by a lot in this time, and yet still I'm leaning towards yes. Because the shots that we saw from WPI, sure, there were lots of strong ones, and they were constantly all around the goal mount. But SNHU never really left their game plan, which was to simplify, and they found the right opportunities to strike and kept themselves alive in many different ways. I do believe that they are still going to challenge in here, and I think they have the opportunity. I'm not going to get behind Team SNHU for winning the series, not yet, but they certainly have a chance. In my eyes, the percentage of them winning just went from about 10%, it was that low, even with the win in pocket, to about 40% now at this point in time. I still think they have a prime opportunity. I still think WPI has the advantage, but man, they have to wake up in these moments.
That's when the old ESPN meter was swung 99% one way. You just needed to seal out the game, and now it's starting to creep back the other direction. It's making everyone with the over-unders go, ah, and tearing up their tickets. We'll get to see if any of that changes. Game number 6, WPI, for all intents and purposes, we've seen them be fantastic individually. They've had some awesome passes, and it feels like the creativity is obviously there. But SNHU, they have simplified this game. They have denied them at the goal line. They have met them in the grass. They are not letting Sly have that open air. And guess what has happened because of that? Soccer Penguin is back on the pitch. They have subbed out Striker.
Going back to the original. Might actually be the play, right? You see a couple games go through. It's not necessarily Striker's fault by any means. That's certainly not what I'm saying. You just go back with the groove. What's been working tonight, you know? It could be as simple as that. And one of the things I fear and why I won't give SNHU an even 50-50 is not just because they're a game behind, but it is because, you know, WPI has the capability. The GOATs have the capability of just being able to blow this thing out of the water. And really, like, the chances we've seen them put up and the shot difference that we've seen throughout the games that we've seen so far has been really tilted in the WPI way. Now, SNHU got that first really good look, though, in this game, though.
One thing that will start making me at least a believer for at least the 50-50. 1, winning this game. Because 2, that forces a game 7. But Jabata's got to be stopped. The thing that really sings well to what you've been talking about, Bear, SNHU hasn't beaten this roster. They beat it with Striker. They need to beat what was beating them in the first few games.
Exactly right. Exactly. And that was a filthy goal, by the way. Propel yourself upside down, get that flip reset, and then get the extra touch. Almost got the double, too. I think he was looking for that, too. But it could just be like, you know, more of that showboating that we didn't necessarily want to see more of from WPI GOATs, if you agree.
I mean, I want to see it, but I want to see it with a disciplined rotation. I felt like they were just kind of all over it. Everyone just kind of full send. And I'm like, okay, where's the dog walker? Because the leashes have been all over the place. Move in the right direction. That was an open net for a hot second. Sly is going to have to rotate backwards. That is a loose ball play. Ends up upfield for another clear. Savage should be able to find 2 extra touches, but he has no support cell because they had to retreat.
Yeah, they were back looking for boost and bumped off it as well. Sly is right back to work as too. I think he thought the defender was up for it. Looked like he was looking for a bump more so than that touch. But couldn't find either, and so it fall back to down to the ground. The Pinman only able to temporarily relieve that pressure. Flip reset. Had the support there as well, but look out. Gonna be a dangerous spot here on the way back for the GOATs. What a reactionary save there from Jabata.
Jabata had to read 2 separate players, and it was a great reaction. Fantastic look to stop that next coming touch because they had 2 separate touches from the near side post off of the would-be assistants. So SNHU forcing the GOATs to have to live up to their pedigree. It's going to be a big booming clear. It's going to be more of a line drive out of Savage Slasher, and Sly pick it up easily. Eagle has to deal with the same kind of idea as that one was between Sly and Jabata. Now trying to outpace Soccer Penguin, who has been welcomed back onto the pitch. Backboard play? No. Sly will drive it down to the ground, gets a nice flick.
Yeah, and that's right to Jabata. He's going to play it right back to Sly. The give and goes, and the extra touch, the double. A beautiful play here for the GOATs. Make it 2-0.
Fantastic follow. Sly's been trying to do this several different times. Been a tough draw to have to deal with that defense that has been keyed up for denying them. But with 2-0, SNHU, they found the last couple of games via a 1-goal win, 1 in OT, won a very close 2-1 in regulation. WPI owned a couple on them with as minimal as it's been picked up by the Penmen. They've got a lot of work to do, less than 2.
Time off the clock here for WPI. The corner a couple of times there from Eagle. Eagle stepped it up in the last couple of games, has really, truly become the leader of the Penmen. They need to be able to find just a little bit more, and it needs to come quickly. The minute 35 is going to tick down fast. It'll be off the back wall. Nobody defending here. Now the follow-up, the bouncer will sneak through and give the Penmen some life. SNHU yellow now back within 1.
Called his name, and Eagle needs to soar. Nice bouncer to force both Soccer Penguin and Jabata to leap at it. Jabata having to act from outside his own post. And he has to force that one through. Was that a possession play, a fake kickoff? Ends up going a little bit sideways for the Penmen. Goats very much ready to try and capitalize.
When the back wall comes Savage, he had a bump to free up a little bit of space up front, but unfortunately mishandled. Now Soccer from the corner pinches it across, has the opportunity, but a good touch away. From the back wall here from SNHU. They need to play some offense. Slide read it all the way. WPI Goats steal one back immediately.
It's off the sidewall. Look at the bump by Jabata. Forcing Savage Slasher to come out of the net. That is not where they wanted to go, but Jabata was making sure to kick him in the butt and send him that direction, making life easier for their striker for WPI. High and low, Savage Slasher wants one back. Soccer Penguin can't get a hold of this one. There's a chance to dagger through. Man, that one stopped dead. They have another chance, but too many Penmen in the same spot.
And Penguin got the boost, the 100 boost that SNHU was stealing for the last couple of get-goes. So they're able to at least have a little bit of comfortability in the boost tank. But Eagle wants to keep with it all the way to the ceiling. Maybe launched it a little bit too high. Savage was waiting on the other end, but couldn't find the pass because it was denied. That one looking at an open net, but they swung across just in time to get the touch. Now in the box, had the chance to press through. Time still running down. This one chopped at, but left there. Good touch away from Soccer. Penguin should be able to finish the deal, as they will put themselves up 4-1 to our WPI.
Unless we have some insane drama, we've got an iced out situation in favor of the Goats. Soccer with that fantastic play in the middle of the pitch, put all the Penmen on skates. They were the only ones ready to go. They full send it, get the bot kickoff. 15 seconds left there. SNHU, they brought some fight. The Goats were just ready to finally put it to bed.
The friction between these two teams was tight for the last 3 games straight. It was 1-goal games all the way through, and SNHU found themselves, unfortunately, on the wrong side of too many of those. They were close, kept it close, and then it just all falls apart whenever you saw that 2-goal lead come. Because it didn't happen frequently in the series, outside of that game number 1, really. And so then it was WPI over and over again. They were able to get right back to where they started, and they sub in Soccer Penguin again and get the win here. 5-1 here in this game and 4-2 in this series.
I like the experimental process that WPI went through this. Obviously, there's going to be some extra tape to kind of review if they want to bring people in and out and see what happens. But you know what? Kudos to SNHU forcing into the game number 6, showcasing, hey, we can take on some of the depth of your roster. But there's definitely a nice solidified 3-man set that worked very well for Worcester Polytechnic Institute. So they will stay undefeated. They go 4-0, dropping to 1-3 now is going to be SNHU. So the Penmen got some work to do in these last 3 weeks of the regular season if they possibly want to see the postseason. It's been a neat upgrade to see them go from Division 6 to Division 4 and how they've received the competition.
Yeah, exactly. You know, been able to take it by storm and say we belong here, number 1, and we can adapt along the way as well. I think, you know, WPI that was the last thing I was expecting for them to come back out and get 5 goals in that last game though. Because they were held to basically, I think they had 2 goals over the last 3 games, you know, prior to that. So they're making adjustments, taking on the competition. Both of these teams really are making it close, and it shows how tight this division is. And it also shows how strong these teams and how deep their rosters go, especially with WPI, where you're making subs and still finding results regardless.
Well, Awesome that we get to see both these teams be able to finish it out. WPI, they will take that win. We got to see some good Division 8 play and Division 5 play as well before all of this. A game number 7 that was crazy topsy-turvy, and a sweep as well in Division 8. So everything's still being solidified here in this spring. And of course, want to give some love over to our production with Chippy putting our faces into your spaces. If you guys need more NECC on these same days as well, we have CS2 that's going on NECC2. So if you like Carball, you like some FPS, and then if you want something throughout the entirety of the week, you can do that as well. As we have tomorrow, we got League of Legends with Yanni, as well as Alk Battery, as well as Overwatch on Friday with Tiny Shiny and Twin Salty. So if you want to be able to find games all week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, those are the days of the week. Thank you, Rebecca Black, for teaching us what Friday is all about. You can be able to find it right here with some college action. But for tonight, that's it. Signed, sealed, and delivered. I'm Hail Monkey Man. That's Bear Light. You guys have been fantastic. Y'all have a great night.